You are about to witness history in the making.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Pop Culture Gamers podcast. We've got a slightly different show for you here today. As you know, I'm Hayden, but you will be looking to my side and be thinking, who is that handsome devil of a man who's sat there next to me? It's not Steve, unless suddenly Steve has had a bit of a makeover, which he hasn't. So we've actually welcoming Ian from Gaming Generations to the podcast. So welcome, Ian.
It's a pleasure, Hayden. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, you've had me on your show plenty enough, so I thought it was about time I invited you over as well. So, do you want to just get your shameless plug out of the way right at the start, shall we? Do you want to tell us about your podcast?
Yes, so I am the host and creator of the Gaming Generations podcast, which Hayden has frequented many, many episodes. And for Hayden's listeners, like getting him on is an absolute dream because we don't do any notes, we don't do any prep. We just know Hayden's on, so he'll do all the talking. So it's like an easy night for me and Steve normally when we get you on Hayden, isn't it?
Well, I try and take the burden away from you a little bit.
I think 90% of our Star Wars show recently was you being a total fanboy for the whole episode, wasn't it?
Fanboy nerd, yeah.
Yeah. But you expect that from someone who does a gaming podcast anyway, don't you? So yeah, we're all big nerds here. But yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. Obviously, Hayden, I've listened to you do podcasts for maybe what, 10 years? More
Something,
than that,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah. It'd be about 10 years now.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a pleasure to be on. I feel like a little minor celebrity when I get asked to go on other people's podcasts.
Yeah, it is nice, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
just
it is
because,
real nice.
yeah, yeah. So where can people pick up your podcast from?
So our podcast is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts currently. They're the only two platforms we do it on. I thought those are the two big ones. So we do have a YouTube channel, but my daughter has taken complete control of it and is now full of children's animated shorts. And
Okay.
she's got 45,000 views this month, Hayden.
How on earth has
Like,
she done that?
I have no idea. I got less than 2,000 views in 12 years. Now she's got 45,000 views this month alone. So, she might be the next Mr. Beast that I'm raising here, Hayden.
She might be. I don't know if your daughter's ever come across Stampy Longnose.
I don't know if I know Stamp. I
He
mean,
was
possibly.
it was like him and Dan TDM were the two ones that my son was really into when I was a kid. And Stampy Longnose had this really annoying voice. I think he still does do these, but it was like all Minecraft stuff. And
Yeah, she probably
he
has.
always used to go along every time he started a podcast. It was, "Hello, this is Stampy." So I started really annoying my son because every time I started doing stuff, I said, "Hello, this is Daddy."
I think the lava chicken meme from the new Minecraft movie is responsible for launching 8 million 5-year-olds into YouTube stardom. All
I
the shorts that I've seen.
Yeah, I have to admit I have not seen Minecraft the movie. Quite ironically, my wife has because she went with my son and her brother and our nephew. But I thought, no, I am not quite that sad, so I'm not going to go see that.
Hayden, it's a total joy. I've seen it about 19 times now. I mean, I've got a 5-year-old, so clearly I have. Like,
Yeah.
she goes through massive phases, but yes, it is fun. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. It's because obviously it's in the maker of Napoleon Dynamite.
All right. Yeah.
It's got some really off the wall humor thrown in there. Like, as an adult, you'd really appreciate it.
I might give it a go. I might give it a go because I think it's coming out on uh, Prime, isn't it? Shortly. I think I
Yeah,
saw an adverts for it. It might even be on Prime. now, if I remember rightly, or at least I know that you can hire it on there. But I'll probably wait until it comes free.
I didn't have that benefit of having to buy it the second it landed on digital.
Yeah, well, I mean, my son's 18 now, and he's just finished his A levels, so he's wanting to get a job, but he's decided he's not going to start applying for jobs until we've been on holiday. Um, so we've got several weeks to wait for him to start applying for jobs.
So
But once he does, then he'll start buying these movies so I can borrow them off him.
he says he's 18
He's
now.
18.
Do you say? And
Yeah.
he's just starting to look for a job now. But how old were you when you had your first job, Hayden?
Uh, 17, to be honest.
You're 16. Like I was Christmas '97. I remember it vividly.
Yeah, my first job was I was a pot washer in a restaurant. Yeah, if you know the White Eye in Stokesley.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, like when it was a Royal Coffee House, I was I worked in there, and I remember there was a lad in there who used to have a Commodore Amiga, and his name was Andy, and he was. Do you remember Chips that was in Linthorpe Road when it was
Of course,
161 Linthorpe Road? Yeah, you know, when it
of
was up the
course I do.
stairs. Yeah,
Yeah, with the WrestleFest arcade machine that spent
yeah,
my €5 a week pocket money on, Hayden.
yeah. Well, he was the one who used to take the Commodore Amiga 1000 in.
Right? Okay.
And I got to be friends with him because he was one of the chefs in there. And then had ex-copy parties with him. So yeah, those were the days when you're pretty much clueless about the world.
My
But
first job was Sports Direct in the old Cleveland Centre, opposite
oh yeah, I
British Home
remember that.
Stores. That was my
Yeah,
first ever job. And my first pay packet, I bought a PlayStation 1, Hayden.
yeah. I mean, for those people who are wondering how come you two know all of the same areas, it's because I used to live at Stokesay, which was 10 miles away from Middlesbrough, which is where Ian's from. So we know the area very well between us, I would have said.
Hey, we're actually free of any Southerners, Hayden, for once in our lives.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know. It's
Yeah,
a joy.
exactly. Well, everything's north of the ice wall, where the
Yeah.
where the walkers are.
No offense to any Southerners listening. It's just that we're always surrounded by them as co-hosts, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah, it is, but it's proper hard people now. It's not these southern Jessies.
Oh yeah, we're so scary, Hayden.
Yeah,
So intimidating.
yeah. So, Ian, tell us about yourself, and about some of the stuff that you've been up to recently.
So I'm an older gamer, as you can probably tell by my face. I'm 44, so I've been gaming since the Atari 2600. Um, you spend way, way, way too much time playing games, I would say, these days. I awesome little 5-year old that was now trying to starting to progress into gaming. So she saw a Switch 2 advert recently, and now I am a proud owner of a Switch 2, despite saying I was never going to buy one. Bought one on release day, Hayden. What can I do? Child's birthday next month, so. And I was thinking the other day, how many consoles do I have in my home? And it's quite a lot. Like double figures I have of console wise in my home. How is yours? Do you stockpile like I do, or do you move them on?
No, no, I've only ever sold one console that I've owned, and that was the Mega Drive.
Right? Oh, that's a shame.
So yeah, and to be honest, it was needs must because back then, it was like literally the stuff that was out was Sonic the Hedgehog and all of that, the original ones, which was a real, it was great having the original consoles and that, but um, there was something else that I wanted to buy. I can't think it might have been. I wanted to save it up for a PC or something or other like that. So as a result of that, I ended up having to sell that. But I vowed I would never sell another console. in my life after that because it was gutted that I had to get rid of it, and I've never replaced it either.
I've just stockpiled recently. I don't even know how it's happened. I've got a little basket behind me there, and it's got like a stack of retro consoles in. I'd love to make like a retro games room, like a display stand with them all in little shelves that you can see on YouTube. These
Yeah.
amazing games rooms. But this is my only spare room, this, and it's about 3 foot by 3 foot, about 9,000 degrees currently, so I haven't got the space for it, but couldn't possibly part with them now.
But you do have a number of Funko Pops behind you.
That's just some of it. I've got about 800, I think, all in all, stashed
Wow.
around this room in a big square. It used to have a lot more. It's lockdown's fault, Hayden. Spent the whole lockdown buying mystery boxes off random sites and then selling them on or keeping what I wanted. Made a
Yeah.
fortune selling mystery boxes during lockdown. But yeah, my collection's rather extensive these days. Some nice valuable ones in there also, which I'm proud of.
Yeah. I mean, my son's got loads and loads of Funko Pops. I've got two. Well,
What other?
no, I've got three. I've got um, Flash Gordon,
All right, cool.
Boltan, and Grogu. And I only bought two of them. I didn't buy the Grogu one. Um, but yeah, those are the only ones that I've got. But to be honest, I've never really. It was one of those things. If I didn't want to collect them because uh, I just knew I would get obsessive about it, and my son got obsessive about it. Now he has a few hundred, and he's decided he wants to get rid of them because he's just changed his mind basically. And some of them are quite rare, so it's going to be a matter of probably sticking them on eBay or something or other like that. But yeah, he's got loads
It's
of
it's
ones.
The problem is like the artists kind of fell out of the market of Funko Pops now. Like during
Yeah,
lockdown, it peaked hugely. You could get big money for some of them, but now you're lucky you get like 50% value for them. Now it's completely died. It's kind of the Funko themselves kind of oversaturated the market.
yeah, they
So
did.
it's like 50 or 60 variations of the same character, which nobody really wants. Like I'll buy one of each character. Like I won't like buy multiple
Oh
versions of it.
yeah. I mean, it's like my son's got like every color of Darth Vader going. You know, all of the special limited edition ones where it was chrome red and chrome blue and chrome and sort
I've
of
got
like,
one Darth Vader. It's the light up and sound Funko Darth Vader.
yeah,
So he does the light up lightsaber with a sound effect.
yeah. I think my son's got the glow in the dark Darth Vader as one of them as well. But it's just the one that he actually gave away to his cousin, and I was furious that he did because it was really hard to get hold of. Was the Marty McFly one, and
Yeah,
he gave that away to his cousin because his cousin likes it. I like Back to the Future a hell of a lot more than him, and I would have had that if you hadn't, if you had wanted to get rid of it. I was
we
really annoyed with it.
my missus paid 125 quid for a Mass Effect one for me from a shady site in Saudi
Wow,
Arabia. It's super
wow.
rare. It's really hard to get hold of, but 125 quid, yeah.
That
We're nuts, aren't we, us Neds?
oh god, yeah, yeah. But it's just all about getting the collections and stuff like that. And it's like I don't know about you, but my collection sort of thing. I'm very much like that with movies, with buying for like movies in 4K and stuff like that. And I was with the Marvel stuff, you know, with the Marvel superheroes movies. And then I don't know, just something around about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 sort of time. I just sort of, I can't be bothered with this anymore. And I just stopped. And I think the last one that I bought was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which, if you've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, makes Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness more like Doctor Strange and the Mildly Peculiar.
Yeah. Do you feel like
Um,
everything everywhere all at once is an absolute magnificent movie?
oh, it is absolutely brilliant. And let's face it, we all think about that statue bit where that guy jumps on.
But we've started the show with a massive tangent already here, and this is how tonight's going to go.
It is normal. It is
Yeah,
normal.
yeah, yeah.
It
You're
is
right.
normal. So carry on. What else other than Funko Pops and that then?
Oh, I've got
Anything
a
else?
room full of all sorts. I have a Destiny gun replica that is hand painted and 3D printed. Obviously, we might hit on Destiny later with upcoming releases. I'm quite boring, really. I just play games, I watch movies, I spend time with my family. My missus is a gamer, so that's a real bonus to me. So we play a lot of co-op games as well. Um, Other than that, I don't really do a creative. I'm not very sociable. I am when I do my podcasts, but I don't really like going outside that much. There's people
Mm,
out there.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
like, I'm quite happy to have a nice quiet life and just play games and enjoy myself these days.
yeah, and that's all you want to do at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
We did have a bit of a moment the other night, though. What night was it? What day is it today? Sunday. So early hours Thursday morning, three. It's about 3 a.m. Obviously, we're all sleeping terribly out because of the heat at the moment. It's horrible, isn't it? I hear like a weird alarm goes off at 3. I'm like, what on earth is this alarm? I've never heard this alarm in my house ever before, Hayden. I get up and I look at my boiling cupboard and my carbon monoxide alarm's going off.
Oh,
And immediately, panic stations. I've got the child outside asleep on a trampoline with a blanket over. Thankfully, it's a nice night. My missus is on the trampoline with her. We've had to like seal one of the cats into the trampoline as well because it will escape and will never come back. It's dumb. And the other cat's hiding under a bench. My rabbit's still in the house. I'm like, well, I can't save everybody. I've had to ring 999 to get the fire department out, and it's just a faulty unit. No
oh
signs of
my
carbon
God.
monoxide. I felt awful, right, ringing the fire department, but it's one of those things that you can't be too careful with, like a carbon monoxide alarm.
No,
Generally,
no.
I was generally like terrified, but everything was okay. It's just a faulty unit, so that's literally the most exciting thing that's happened to me this month, I think.
Yeah, that is a concern, and you do feel a bit daft when you've had a false alarm like that, but you have to be careful at the end
Yeah,
of the day.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, I mean, for me, in terms of what I've been doing, I started a new job 3 months ago, so I'm just got past my first quarter of a year because I'm working in the civil service again after working for the local authority for years. So I'm at the Treasury. Um, so it's like it's quite cool. Working at Darlington again, which I used to do years ago. But yeah, it's quite nice, and getting out to the office as well a few times a week is uh, really nice to just have a well quite a mixture of different organisations work in the same building. So and you get it's quite a good job. Um, so there's that, and to be honest, post other than that, I've been sort of practicing my photography and videography ready for when I go on holiday. Several weeks time yet, but I'm going to the States. So
Nice.
going to New York, Washington DC, Toronto, and Niagara.
Full road trip.
Um, well, no,
Oh,
uh, we're doing a bus tour excursion day to Washington DC, and as part of that, we go to the Aerospace and Space Museum in Washington. So I'm hopefully going to get to see a space shuttle or something like that, that sort of stuff. But we're going on the Amtrak across America to Niagara.
awesome.
Yeah. And we're going business class as well. So it's like, we're going the best that we can, luxury seats and stuff like that. Not on the plane, you know.
Have you got
It's
some
like,
kind of Breaking Bad thing on the side here, and so you can afford all this?
no, unfortunately not. No,
Nothing that exciting.
no, I really wish I had. It's just that my wife and we've scrimped and scraped for years, and we've reached that stage where we decided we've had enough and we just wanted to do something. So this is it basically. Going to America. I've never been. My wife's been to America multiple times, to which she keeps reminding me. So we've told her wherever we go, she gets off the mode of transport last, and she gets on it first, so that we can say, "Well, we spent more time there than you did." um, but yeah, so looking forward to that. So
It's gonna be amazing.
yeah, well, I mean, because I've got the Insta 360 gimbal for my iPhone, so to do a bit of videography because uh, we're just off Times Square where we're stopping in the hotel. So I plan to get some videos of that. We're going to go to on a boat tour around Manhattan. We're going to go um, up the Empire State Building. My son's insisting we go to the Nintendo store, so we're going there. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of like what we're planning on doing. But yeah, I'm just trying to get all of my ducks in a row about what camera gear and that I'm going to take because I want to get some really nice photography. What I'm hoping, what we're planning on doing is going up the Empire State Building when it's dark, so that I can get some nighttime shots of New York, as
Yeah,
opposed to the
yes.
standard, looking through the haze sort of thing from the 86th floor or whatever it is, where there's the outdoor observatory.
That'll be amazing. How long?
Yeah,
How long is it you going for? Did you say?
just a week, so it's
Oh,
a
that's
lot
a
of
lot.
travel.
That's a lot in a week.
It
You need a
is.
holiday when you come back.
Oh yeah, yeah, but yeah, like I said, it's not for several weeks yet, but
Yeah.
um, it's when we do go. Um, so it'll be interesting. But I'm hoping to go into like a Walmart or somewhere where they've got bag and basement of a load of 4K movies. I'm gonna like leave half of my suitcases empty to be able to put 4K movies in from America, I think.
You find like a yard sale, head and get some bargains.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
It would
But
be awesome.
being in the middle of Manhattan, probably unlikely to find that many
Yes,
yard sales.
it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But beautiful, some of the stuff we've been looking at that we're going to do. So we're going to go like around Central Park and do a horse ride around Central Park. Not riding the horse, but in carriage sort of
And
thing.
can you? How's your singing voice, Hayden?
Sounds like a goose farting in the fog.
Have you seen Enchanted?
No,
Oh, I want you to like. I could really love to see you recreate the scene from Central Park from Enchanted. I'd pay good money. You never seen
no,
Enchanted?
no,
Oh, it's
because
brilliant.
I've got a son for a start off, so he doesn't
It's
watch sort of
brilliant.
like no.
I watched it as a single man, Hayden. Don't give me that.
No judgment.
I expect none.
Yeah, no judgment.
I'm sure plenty of your listeners are saying Enchanted's a great movie.
It might well be. It's just never been anything that's really appealed, shall we say.
Yeah, I mean, I get that the second one's appalling as well, but I would highly recommend the first one. Sorry, I'm tangenting again.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay,
If
but it'd be a great flight movie, Hayden.
yeah, because I fall asleep pretty quick, probably.
How are you with flying?
I'm all right. It tends to be crashing. I'm not so hot with. Yeah, it's like my wife's got this notion that I'm frightened of flying, and it's not. I'm frightened of crashing. That's what I'm frightened of. I'm not being up in the air. I understand the physics. I'm fine with that. But it's like, if we crash, it's like I want to be able to jump out 6 foot from the ground just so that I can, not hurt myself. So,
I'm not sure they can accommodate that.
yeah, I know. But, as I'm trying to think of, like Bugs Bunny sort of physics here as well. But, you never know. But of course. what happens just weeks before we're going to go on holiday. You know, we've had two plane incidents, stuff like that. But you know, it's like you're either going to you're either going to have nothing. You're more likely to die on the way to the airport than you are um, being on a flight.
Well, at least you're on a proper airplane. Let me quickly tell you a quick story from when I went to Egypt, Hayden. So I went to Egypt, this must have been 20 years ago, and we booked to go on like an excursion to the Abu Simbel Temple, which is it's in the Mummy movie, the first one, from the
Yeah,
very start of the movie. And you have to fly out at like 12 p.m. So like early hours in the morning because it gets too hot around sunrise and you can't really sustain the day trip. So we drive an hour to this really small airport in the middle of the desert. There's nothing around it. It's pitch black. There's one bench, and in comes the airplane that flies out this temple. And I swear, if it had Indiana Jones vibes hidden, there was chickens on it. It had rotors. I'm like, this is how I die right now. This airplane. It shook. It was loud. I'm like, what on earth? And they're flying you over the desert, pitch black darkness, no lights, and then you see this temple appearing from like the distance. Like, this is the scariest experience of my entire life. So I would avoid plane if it's got a propeller and has a cargo full of chickens.
I have been on a similar sort of plane. It was at Oxford Air Museum. They were doing one of those things of, just like have a bit of a fly around for 20 minutes sort of thing. Uh, there wasn't any chickens on there, but other than that, it was pretty much out exactly as you described. And it was very early in the days of like videography. I used to have my 4 megapixel camera and I took video with it, so you can imagine how bad quality it was. Um, and I took this video of this plane taking off, and then ended up on it, and I took a video of us on it, and then I spliced the two videos together so it looked like, it was like swapping between two. My mate said, "How did you get both views?" It wasn't the brightest spark in the world. But I just said to him it was movie magic. So, anyway, shall we talk about or go on to our gaming this week?
No longer a dream, but a reality.
I've played a lot of games, Hayden. But
Good
I have
stuff.
no. But before we get started, I'm second on the gamer score leaderboard this month. Just to let you know that I might just catch you. I've got 1,400 gamer score now. I'm only about 39,000 behind you, I think, for the month.
No, sorry, but I think you're actually 41 or 2,000 behind me now.
What on earth has happened to get like 43,000 gamer score in 1 month?
Well, don't forget that is since the first. That's not
Yeah.
a month. So it's
Oh,
like
oh,
3 weeks.
my apologies.
Um, I don't know. I was flicking through my old library and I oh, there's some game. I didn't get 100% on this one, so I've just gone back. Where they do like 1,000 gamer score updates sort of thing,
Yeah.
and I just filled out some of them. So, but I've kind of like come to the conclusion that I want to get to 1 million gamer score by the end of the year.
Don't think that's gonna be a problem.
No, I could probably, if I really concentrated on it, do it by the end of the month.
What are you about 25, 35,000 points off it now?
No,
When I
no,
was looking.
I'm about 75.
Right.
I could do it if I really, really wanted to, but I do have a day job and I do have a family.
I'm
So,
still not convinced you do have a day job here, to be honest with you, looking at your achievements. I think it's all a front. Or are you like Elon Musk paying people to play games for you?
nope, no, I'm not Stallion 86, who was the highest gamer score guy who was found to have been paying people to play for him.
Oh, oh
Do you
dear.
not know that?
No, I did not story, no.
Yeah, because I used to remember watching and thinking, how on earth does this guy get so much gamer score? Yeah, that's evidently how he got there.
Right. That's shady. What is the? I don't understand something like that. It's like, what kind of achievement have you got from paying somebody else to do it?
I've
There's no
yeah,
satisfaction there, is there?
no, no. My brother-in-law nearly had a heart attack when I told him how much I'd got because he said I've been on Xbox since day one on the 360, and I haven't got 36,000 gamer scores.
Mine's currently 125,000 currently, so I'm a bit off.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I many years ago, and we're talking about probably about 14 years ago, um, said to myself, right, there's some games on PlayStation 3 I really want to play, but I thought I can't really justify getting a PS3 and a PS4 because at that point I wasn't doing podcasts. And I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll say if I get 100,000 gamer score, then I'll buy a PS3. Um, and that was, I think, probably the thing that started me on the gamer score war. To be always driven, sort of like get in there. And then I started doing leaderboards and that, and it was just sort of like I'm not. You can only see the leaderboard on the app now. But you can't even see it on the Windows app or the Mac. It's only on your phone, sort of thing. So at the moment, like my gamer scores 928,252.
I'm just shaking
So
my head for the listeners.
yeah, um, and yeah, my achievements for this month 42,940.
Stop seeing that.
Um, and what's your handle? Is it
Uh,
Big Tub 81?
Big debate you on.
Yeah, you're second on mine.
Yay!
Yeah, yeah. And then
The
somebody
small
who I used,
victory, Hayden.
yeah, so somebody who I used to work with called Lee. Um, he's third on my gamer score list, and he's got half what you have. But I always remember it was so funny actually because like Lee, when I first joined where I used to work, he was like known as the Xbox person. And so, like, it's like messaged him. I said, "Oh yeah, it's like, you'll have to let us know what your um, Xbox profile name is." So he said, his email back was, "Here it is, Marvel at my gamer score." So I had a look, and I was 4,000 ahead of him, which back then 4,000 was a lot.
Well, yeah, because a lot of those arcade games only had like 500G total, didn't they?
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it wasn't 1,000G for a 20-minute game back then.
No, no, it was 200G.
Yeah,
Um,
that's it,
and
200. Yeah.
and you would get like all of the Mass Effect extras were added up to about 1,300 or something or other like that. It's like you really had to go for it with Gamer Score. The only way that you could get any sort of like cheap Gamer Score was to buy Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, and do it in 20 minutes.
No, 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 no. I actually timed myself and I managed to do it from a cold boot. Yeah. So there's a system not even on. And bearing in mind it launched games from the actual disc back then. Booted my 360 up and I'd got 1,000 gamer score in 42 seconds.
What? I never did Avatar. Never did it.
My
But
brother-in-law bought it because he wanted to try and boost up his gamer score.
it's
So
paying money for G's. That
yeah, it
like,
was. It was.
did you ever finish the game?
No, I didn't because it wasn't a particularly good game from what I played.
Is your
Uh,
time played 42 seconds by any chance?
45. Yeah, but that was a um, that was the game that you used to do for having all of the gamer score, and then there was other things like I remember another pay for it one was if you had the Xbox camera, then you could get 50 gamer score in Rainbow Six Vegas for doing your face to map
Right.
onto one of the things that was a like basically it was a paid for gamer score was that because you got 50 game score for it.
Wow.
Yeah,
The
I
things we
remember
do.
what was it? The More, I think they did DLC and it had like 10 gamer score or something or other. It was like pathetic, beyond
Right.
pathetic. Never, that was quite a good Xbox arcade game originally. Was the More, but when you like think of them now, a lot of games have up to 5,000. A lot of the games that I've had are up to 5,000, and to be honest, some of them have not been too bad. So let's see, recently, what ones have I done? Ellie Phaser, that was pretty average. Um, Capybara Goes to Space, a very easy platformer. Out of Moves was all right. It's one of those ones where you do it in diagonals and you can't stop. Like you're skidding on ice, and it's a bit of a puzzle one. The Adventures of Ali Alligator. Okay, it's all right. Let's have a look. Shape Neon Chaos is quite a good one. Actually, I'm trying to think of what was it? It's like a twin stick shooter that's just continuous sort of thing. Well, until you die. Alpaca Packer Dash 1 and 2. Yeah, okay. Uh,
Some real quality titles here, Hayden.
oh yeah, like Super Penguin Boy.
Oh yeah, that classic.
Yeah, that absolute classic. But it's like Arcade Archives 2 Ridge Racer, that's quite good. Because Ridge Racer is one of my favourite games. I quite like the Ballatron games, which are like puzzle ones, where it's sort of like a bit like a very strange sort of snooker, where you have to shoot a ball into another one, which then has to bound around and then hit another ball to complete the mission. Um, Another a reasonable shooter, which is Sky Survivors. That's not too bad. Lots of game score on that one as well. Um, Reactor X 1 and 2 if you want really easy gamer score. Um, Beast, sorry, Beat of Momentium on Moment Zoomer rather. Isn't a bad one for like the puzzle um, ice skating sort of ones where you've got to go around. Zombie Derby, they're quite good funds if you played the Zombie Derbies 1 and 2. Um, they're you just go along and you have to kill a load of zombies, and then you get score for killing zombies, but eventually you'll run out of fuel. So you've got to then upgrade your vehicle and then do the same run again, but with a slightly better vehicle until you get to the end, and then you get to the next level, and then it's rinse and repeat sort of thing. Pirate Bloopers, that's a Desert Water game one, that's quite good. Um, just a bit of a fun, quite retro sort of shooter, sort of thing where you're driving a pirate boat and you've got to collect stuff in there. Stunt Paradise, that's a surprisingly hard game once you start getting onto it at some of the later levels, which you can tell because I haven't completed them all. It's a kind of like a bit like a stunt car version of Trials,
Right.
if you've ever played those.
I love trails.
Yeah, well, stunt car's a bit like that. It's a bit like a cross between um, that and Zombie Derby, to be honest. But you obviously not going over zombies and stuff. Um, and I'll tell you something else. One thing that I've really got into, and it sounds like really stupid because I'm not even that bothered about cats. But like the hidden cat games, there's quite a lot of those where they're just quite. good for a chill out when you know you want to have something to occupy your mind, but you don't want to watch a movie and you don't really want to play an in-depth game. So you just end up looking for like cats and highlighting them and then, clearing out the board sort of thing. So,
There's a
so
there's a
the amount of games I play is very varied and wide, but obviously been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Shadows, although not that much in the last month.
No, I haven't
So
been back to it after my initial 12 hours. I've been sidetracked hugely recently with games. Like just a select list of what I've played recently. So Rematch, which came out on Tuesday. Um, Elden Ring Night Rain, that's another new release. Balatro, I have a serious problem with. Blueprints, which is a cool little indie game on Game Pass, which I'd hugely recommend. And the Alters, they're probably the ones I've been playing the most of. I'm also into the Division 2, weirdly enough, with my Destiny buddies having a break from Destiny and we're playing the Division. So it's basically just the Division, the Destiny Army Men, isn't it? Division. So,
it is, yeah, yeah.
but I'm enjoying Division 2. I don't think it has the variety of of Destiny to keep my interest going for like the amount of time I've put into Destiny, which is close to 3,000 hours, listeners. If you want to compare our my Hayden and Steve's addictions to Destiny 2, it's probably why we're friends.
Well, Steve's sort of like time on Destiny is measured in eons now.
Honestly, it's older than my daughter,
Yeah,
and that I don't even think that's a joke.
I don't either, to be honest. As a matter of fact, I do wonder where he does go to work.
It just doesn't sleep, does he? You see him pop online about
No, he
10
does.
p.m.
He does sleep. Trust me. If you're in a fire team with him, he does sleep because what when it used to be me and Chris and him, were in the early days of Destiny, he used to fall asleep, and you could tell because he would snore. Um, and then we'd end up pushing him off edges and doing things to make the controller rattle in his hand to wake him up,
Hey,
which works sometimes, but not all.
how are you feeling about the expansion next month, Hayden? Are you excited? Are you going to get it? Are you playing Destiny currently? Because I'm on a bit of a hiatus at the moment.
Yeah, I think I've probably burnt myself out on it a little bit recently because I've only ever had, I think, two seals. Um, the first one was the one where it was the Vex many years ago, and then I got the seal for the recent one of the recent ones that was up. Was it the sport? The championship
Oh yeah, yeah.
sort of
It's
one.
the Guardian Games.
Yeah, the Guardian games. So I got that, but I think I'd burnt myself out on that whole campaign, and I've sort of like not been. I've been on Destiny, I think, twice in the last month at the most, and it hasn't been for much because I've just sort of like. I did get like the TIE fighter, and I got the all of the outfits and the speeder bike and the Star Wars, the Death Star globe and all of that. Um, but I'll probably buy this as an expansion, but I don't know whether or not I'll buy it day one.
Yeah, I'm
It'll
not
be,
sure if I will either.
yeah.
So what's seals, Hayden? Currently, I've got 16 seals unlocked. That's the level of commitment I have to Destiny 2.
That's a lot. That's an
Yeah,
awful
yeah.
lot.
I
Yeah, I
can't
mean,
even tell you how much busy work I've to put in for pointless ticky boxes on Destiny 2.
oh God, yeah, yeah, and I think that that's the thing that ruins it for me in Destiny is it. It's like when it turns around and says you have to do 50 kills in the Crucible. 50 kills in the Crucible doesn't take long. You're talking about if you get a good run, three
Two
games.
games?
If you get a bad run, 10 games, sort of thing. So you're talking somewhere in between 20 minutes and an hour and a half, and you've got the 50. But I just hate playing Crucible. I'm not into it because the people who play Crucible often are the ones that ruin it for everybody else because they've balance their character so perfectly that they get the instant regen on everything, and they've got the one shot weapons from doing trials and stuff like that. So you have no chance, and unless you drop into a group where everybody's like relatively casual players on trials on the Crucible, you have no chance in any of those games where people are finely tuned, and then you get the odd one who cheats as well.
Loads of cheating in Destiny, loads.
Yeah,
I will. I am no like sweaty Crucible player, but I have been to the Lighthouse twice in trials. Only with the recent changes though, and it took me I think 8 hours one day to grind to it. That's just 7 wins to me. 8 hours. Trials is the most horrible place in history of PvP gaming, in my opinion. But
yeah,
it's you get some amazing loot, but I don't want to put myself through that ever again.
no, no. I absolutely hate doing anything that's Crucible. I think that Destiny is better as a co-op game as opposed to a head-to-head. And let's face it, the only reason why they put the Crucible in there is to mop up uh, time for people because they've run out of content because they don't turn the content around fast enough.
To be fair,
That's
me
the
and
truth of
me
it.
and me and my friends, because there's four of us, like play regularly. There's not a lot of four-player activities in Destiny 2. It's kind of why
No.
we've gone at the Division 2. We play private Crucible matches 2v2, and we limit ourselves to what weapons we'll allowed to use. So, like one game, we'll play some machine guns, we'll do bows, shotguns. You can't change weapons. We just make it a bit more fun. And in that environment, it's actually really fun PvP Destiny, but just for fun, not competitive. Just a bit of a laugh with your friends.
And that is a way of also grinding some of the stuff that's hidden in Crucible as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you get all your rewards now.
Yeah, because I mean, to be honest, I think there was something that it said you had to do on Crucible in one of the recent seasons, and I thought I don't want to do Crucible, and then found out you could do it doing a one player match against yourself effectively.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it was you had to change it to the capture the flag um, a game type, and then have it as one capture. So I just did that, and I just ground it for like 5 minutes, got everything that I needed out of it, which saved me probably about 4 hours of playing.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're doing that, there's something that might have broken in the game because people shouldn't want to have to do that. And there are some people I know that love multiplayer head to head and don't want to do the PvE stuff. So I don't understand why they don't. And I think they've done it on some things recently, and I think it's probably worked out quite well. Is that you either do this or you do that in multiplayer, and I think that doing it that way works a lot better than saying you now have to go into here and do this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they do lock certain weapons behind PvP still, but it's not. There's that many weapons in Destiny. You don't need them all. It's just a collector thing, isn't it? You feel like you have to have them, but there was also something in your vault that you can replace it with anywhere. Like how much is in your vault? I've got 700 items in my vault currently that needs clearing out. It's
Oh,
completely stacked.
yeah, mine is as well. And to be honest, the only thing that I keep now is exotics, um, unless it's a really good roll, on the purples, because I just don't see the point. Because um, when you're actually, when you're playing it, it's all about building your stats up, and this is something that after years I finally cottoned on to. Do you know what I mean? Because I was never really that bothered. I just enjoyed going in, playing it. I wasn't bothered if I died, that sort of stuff. Which you can tell from my playstyle because you know what I'm like when I Yeah, when
your
it's playing, it's
playstyle,
sort of
your
like everybody
builds.
else is hanging around in the background, and I'm in the middle of all of the bad guys, chopping them up with swords and stuff like that. Um, so I'm happy. That's how I like to play that close combat, PVE sort of stuff. Um, but I never used to balance my characters like that, and I think this last season is probably the one time when I've actually been aware and been thinking, well, if I put that piece on, then that's going to knock that stat down. So I need to then maybe put that module on to bring that stat back up and stuff like that. But then you end up with exactly the same items on all the time, and then you just use an ornament to change the look of it.
Yeah, I've had the same armor set since season of the Deep, which was 3 years ago now. I've had no reason to change my armor because I've
Yeah,
got triple hundreds on it, so I have no reason at all to change it. It's got, all three of my characters have had the exact same armor on since season of the Deep.
yeah. I don't think I'm anywhere near that on any of my characters.
One's
I'm
got
sure
one of
I
them's
could optimize my characters much better, but
one of them's got quadruple hundreds hidden. My warlock's got quadruple hundreds stats, which is not easy. But I've got artifice armor as well, so that helps. Like
yeah,
I'm a slave to the build crafting here than I am. I look at other people's builds like, "Oh, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" And I'm awful for it. To be fair,
yeah. I mean, I must admit, I'm kind of like, um, I like being sort of like, um, is it a Void Walker when you've got the staff on it? Because I mean, I more or less exclusively play as a hunter.
yeah.
Um, and to be honest, I don't even know. Well, other than I prefer the jumping on the hunter because the Titan is like I hate Titans with a passion. I just don't like them as characters.
See, it's a
And
fun.
then Warlocks are just like helium balloons. Whereas the Hunters, I think, you have to be much more precise in the way that you play a hunter than you do with the others because I think that the other ones have a bit more forgiveness in the way that they are, and obviously warlocks are by nature a bit more. Not warlocks, um, titans are a bit more like a berserker. They're a bit more of a bullet sponge anyway. Generally, whereas a hunter is, probably a harder character to play, I think, than any of the others. But also, you have to be more precise in terms of the way that you play, and I much prefer that because to me the skill is in the play and the player rather than it's like having a warlock that just floats around in the ether somewhere and then occasionally lands before the jump again.
I think Hunter's the easiest character to play Hayden.
I don't. I think that
I
Titan is the
disagree with you
easiest.
massively.
I think
because
that Titan is the easiest to play because you can put the shield up, you can do all that sort of stuff to give yourself a break. Whereas a hunter, you've got to be on the move all the time.
it completely depends on what you've built into. Like if you've
It
got a
does.
void hunter, you kill something, you turn invisible, kill something again, turn invisible. You're pretty much unkillable at that point. Get your loop going of invisibility like constantly. Like nothing's going to kill you because they can't see you. There's more risk to a titan. It hasn't got like the healing capabilities that like a hunter and a warlock have, but it is very good for just punching everything in the room really quickly and clearing an entire room and nuking it.
Yeah,
But I've got 36 different builds across those three characters hidden, so I can adapt my play to like any situation now. Like I have way too much time in Destiny 2.
yeah,
But I love it. I do love it. It's my like chill game that I find it cathartic just going in there and playing it and enjoying it. And yeah,
yeah. I mean, for me, and I don't know if do you run the same sort of weapons all the time, or do you flip them around?
got 36 different characters, 36 different loadouts.
Right. Okay. Because
I
um,
I have a hunter hidden with three glaives, in one in each slot
why?
because it's really powerful.
Yeah, I suppose it
Hunt,
claims that, but I must admit, all of my um, characters, they all have exactly the same weapon in the second slot.
Oh, Risk Runner.
Risk Runner.
Get
Yeah,
up, go away from the Risk Runner hated.
I like the Risk
There's
Runner because at
like,
the end of the day, all that you need is to be hit once by arc, and then it turns on the chain, and then it becomes a great crowd controller. An absolute great crowd controller, especially when you're going against Thrawn's. It just annihilates them.
it's not even
Um,
the best Skark weapon in the game.
no, I
better,
know that
better,
I know there's better,
better,
but we
better
all get the
submachine
weapons that we
guns.
like. The only
I
weapon
like.
that was in Destiny that I liked better was the icebreaker.
Yeah, you're probably not gonna get one now.
No,
Like I've done that dungeon and I haven't got one.
no, no. I loved it. I love the icebreaker. Would love to get hold of one, but I mean, I think I can't remember the last time I've done a dungeon. To be
Right?
honest, um, and it's something I need to do. And the other thing I need to do is do a raid because I've done years ago Crota, but that was on Destiny 1. And I've done the Vault of Glass on Destiny 1, but I've not done a raid on Destiny 2 because the only time that I ever managed to get some teams together, nobody knew how to do the bloody raid. And I say, no offense, sorry, Mark Tudor, but I'm going to mention you here. We were in the game. You were, shall we say, you'd had been having a little bit of the sauce, so you were slightly inebriated, and you got very frustrated that you didn't know what to do and went off. Which then meant we didn't have enough to complete the raid. So it's sort of like I gave up on raids after that because I just thought they're too hard to organise and I can't be bothered with all of the looking for group stuff.
It's a minefield LFG on that game. Like, I've done every
Yeah.
raid. Some are successful, some not so successful. To be fair, but dungeon wise, I'm relatively competent with all of them. I would say.
Yeah, I mean, the strange thing is, it's saying that I haven't completed any dungeons, but I have completed, but it was ages ago before they started doing, when they first introduced dungeons. I did the one of the ones on the one where you go down and you have to open up a door and there's a witch and you've got to kill that witch, but she can't be killed because you have to do something else in the room and stuff like that. And then you know the one I mean?
It might be before my Destiny time. That I have no
Yeah.
idea what that is.
It's in I think it's in the northwest of the map. But yeah, I completed that one before because in the end you've got a massive sort of like knight in the center, and you've got to do something at each of the 4 points that surround the center. I can't remember.
Oh, Pit of Heresy.
Pit of Heresy, yeah, that's
Pit
it.
of Heresy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I completed that a couple of times, but it doesn't reckon that I have, which is really annoying.
Right. I
You
think
know,
they must have remixed it or something. Like
yeah,
when they really released it. It's one of the worst dungeons. That the other ones are far more fun. Like some of them are actually really good. Not Ghost of the Deep. Ghost of the Deep takes about 17 hours to complete.
that's a bit long.
It honestly. There's so much traversal in it. It's all underwater, so it's really slow. And the final boss is an waking nightmare. It takes so long to get through the mechanics. But Warlord's Ruin though, really fun. Brass of Avarice, really fun. Done that loads of times. Shattered Throne, not so much fun, but you get Wish Ender from it, so that's always worth doing.
Yeah, yeah, true. True. But yeah, I'll probably go back to it. But it's one of those things of you end up playing that and nothing else, and
Yeah, that's
that's
why I'm
what
having
turns me off it.
that's why I've taken a break in just to try and get a bit more variety in my life, shall we say?
Yeah, yeah. Because when I went on it, I noticed Steve went off it.
Right.
Don't know whether or not he was telling me something or what.
It's because you've
But
got Risk Runner on every slot, Hayden.
yeah, but I know how to make that gun work, though. That's the thing. But
Yeah. I mean, it's a good gun. I'm just picking on you for the sake of it now.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like that gun, and as you well know. But there is that other machine gun version. Oh, sorry, rifle version of it that you've got to charge up by running.
Oh, centrifuge.
Centrifuge, yeah,
No, I don't use that either. Trinity Girl is the way forward.
is
The
it?
bow. Yeah, it's an ad clearing monster. It makes this gonna look tame, Trinity Girl. But you need the catalyst for it.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that. See if
Trinity
I
Girl.
might have it somewhere, but
On an
maybe I
Arc
haven't got the
Hunter,
catalyst or something. I don't know.
yeah, Trinity Girl on Arc Hunter is just so much fun. You clear a room out in one shot.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So
That's the sort of thing that you want, isn't it? At the end of the day,
so you kill one enemy and it charges up your bolt, so then that'll chain lightning to every other enemy in your next shot. So you just rinse and repeat. So if you do a strike with Trinity Girl, you're always top of the kill leaderboard.
yeah. Well, very cool, very cool. Um, yeah. So moving on from Destiny then, because I think probably those people who don't like Destiny will be thoroughly bored with it now. Um,
Sorry, guys.
sorry, guys. Let's talk about the Switch 2.
Let's.
So you've got one. My
Yeah.
son's got one, so I've had the opportunity to play it. What are your thoughts?
Um, Slightly better Switch One. Like games do look better. I've tried out a few games. Generally, do look better, run better. I like the design of the console. I think it's a bit weightier. I still don't think it's particularly comfortable to use for long periods of time. I
Mm,
don't think it's ergonomically its handles still aren't quite right. It needs like a bit of a better grip still on the handles. Also, I have a Legion Go as well, so I'm going to compare it hugely to that. You use Steam Deck, right?
yeah, Steam Deck.
Yeah. I think when you have one of those portable PCs, you're always going to compare a Switch to that, right? So
Yes.
it's like, and those Nintendo games generally do look fantastic. And Mario Kart World, it's Mario Kart, isn't it? It's always going to be fun. I don't think it's the best Mario Kart though that's been made. I do think it's missing a few things that I would expect from a newer Mario Kart.
Yes. And I think that that's what the general consensus is. I mean, in terms of how it looks as Mario Kart's never looked better
No.
because I was like, after looking at it on the Switch one, because obviously I've played it quite a lot on there, I did look at it and I thought, I can't see how they can make it look better than the Switch one, but it does. It looks
Oh,
100% better. And I was quite surprised by that, but it looks more like a Pixar animation sort of thing in terms of the quality to like a Switch One. Do you know what I mean? It's that's how I would like describe it to somebody. What do you think?
yeah, it does definitely have a more cartoony quality of it. Like the animations on the characters look fantastic. The little flourishes you get from them just randomly during races, the sound effects, they all looks really nice. I think one of its major drawbacks is like its selling point is also one of its major drawbacks, like being a first like open world Mario Kart. Like obviously all the tracks lead onto each other in a Grand Prix. There's the links seamlessly.
Yeah,
But I think personally that takes a lot of individuality out of the tracks. And they don't stand out as much as like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's tracks do, if
yeah,
you get me. I just they all kind of blend into one now.
to
With
do.
like you got like five beach tracks, five sand tracks, five city tracks. There's just not that variety to the cook tree. I mean, Rainbow Road still looks amazing. Don't get me wrong, but I couldn't say Saturday after playing it for 30 hours with my missus already. I couldn't say to you what my favorite track was. An old Mario Kart, I'd be able to tell you like right now what my favorite tracks were.
Yeah,
Agree? Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, I've only played it probably for about an hour and a half, something like that. Um, and I couldn't name any of the tracks that were on there. They just looked really nice. It played really well. It played like a Mario Kart game, which is exactly what you would expect it to do. But in terms of anything else, um, there was, I think you're right, a lot of the character seems to have been drained out of the game.
It's that. How do
Yeah,
you drain character from Mario Kart?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's by having
But
a generic, adding a generic open world just hasn't helped its case. And like, I still think it's a good game. Do not get me wrong. Like me and my missus had a lot of fun with it. It's just not very memorable.
yeah, yeah, no, I would agree. Um, I do think that in terms of handheld mode, the bigger screen is definitely nicer.
Looks real nice.
Yeah, it does look real nice, but I don't know whether or not you've seen Digital Foundry and about their analysis of the screen, and they reckon that the pixel performance on the screen is lower than the original Switch because evidently people have been complaining about um, ghosting sort of effects when they're on horizontal platformers.
Right,
So you're like Sonic One, that sort of stuff. If you could play in like the or like Sonic Mania, whatever, you're playing 2D sort of like versions of those, and that evidently it's a bit like when you scroll up and down. If you've got a long list of stuff, there's like four different versions of the thing comes up, and when it goes fast, sometimes our eyes see it as motion blur, but it's actually four different pixels, and they don't think it's the responsiveness of the screen. They think it's something to do with the software at the
right,
moment. That's not because obviously the screen should be refreshing up to 120 megahertz on that screen. So I understand. So there's obviously something the matter with the drivers at the moment.
right. It did have an update the other day, mind. I think it was yesterday when I logged on. I had an update for the system.
Yeah.
Um, how many games have you tried out on it or had a look at?
I've only seen a couple of games, to be honest. I've seen um, obviously Mario Kart World is it?
Yeah.
And my son bought No Man's Sky.
How's that look?
It looks really good, and
Really?
he's been really enjoying it as well. So yeah, it plays really well on there. So yeah, and I've seen running on it Cyberpunk as well, which seems to look quite good from
It's
what I've
quite
seen.
impressive. It's quite
Yeah,
impressive, actually. Cyberpunk on a Switch 2. It really is. Like, I wouldn't buy a third party game though. Personally, I think a Switch should be just for Nintendo games. Personally, that you get the best out of a Switch of a Nintendo game. Like we were playing
oh
Luigi's Mansion. We played Luigi's Mansion 3 a couple of days ago, and that looks incredible on it here. Like the step up from like the Switch 1 to the Switch 2
yeah.
was quite jarring how much better it looks, and that's an incredible game. Luigi's Mansion 3. Sorry.
So you think that this is it £10 that they're charging for the upgrade to the Switch 2 version from the original versions of these games is worth it?
Uh, not all of them are £10 upgrades to these Switch 2. So some of the standard games I've had just generally do run better because it looks like by all accounts they when these games were made originally they had unlocked frame rates. The Switch just wasn't powerful enough to utilize that. So now you put it on the Switch 2, it's no problem. The games are run to how they should have looked on the Switch 1, but due to hardware capabilities, this wasn't possible. Also, if you have a family pass, all those upgrades are free hidden.
Mm.
So like we've got five of us on a family pass, me and my friends, and we paid a fiver each for like 2 years, and then we get all those upgrades for free. So like this, the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they're part of the family pass.
But presumably, if you stop paying a family pass, then you lose them.
Yeah, but a fiver each for 2 years,
Yeah,
that's not bad, is it really? Like
no,
that's a fiver all in. That's not a fiver a month. That's a fiver each for two
yeah.
years. So any upgrades that come out, we'll have access to them, and we can play all those old back catalogue games like the GameCube, the N64, the SNES. There's only three GameCube games there, which really disappointed me. But hopefully they'll add more to that.
Yeah, I think they will over time. I must admit, I don't know whether or not to get a Switch 2 or not. Um, I mean, in terms of like it as a device, you were talking about obviously the Legion and whatever, but the one thing I used to really hate about the Switch was I always felt it was very flappy on the Joy Cons on the side. They wiggle too much, whereas I don't get that same feeling with these new magnetic mounts
The
that they've done.
magnetic ones.
Yeah,
They
they're
feel
very
real
nice.
nice.
Yeah, and they've got a very satisfying sort of like
Click.
plunk when you go
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Us nerds
Um,
love that shit, don't we? Sorry,
oh yeah,
pardon my language.
yeah, but we love our magnets on absolutely everything. But yeah, they do clip on very nice and they feel very secure once they're on there. But I think it's the depth of it that they go in as well really helps in terms of that, and obviously the strength of the magnets. Um, but yeah, I do like that, and I did try that because obviously the version that we got for my son because there was only one available because everywhere else was sold out, and obviously he wanted it day one, and it was his 18th, so. Um, the version that we got was the one with the camera and the spare Joy-Cons. So when I played Mario Kart against him, I used the adapter thing as well. And using it in there, I didn't get hand cramp and my hands felt absolutely fine, using it really well. Um, and I must admit, the feeling of the mouse bit as well feels a lot better than I thought it was going to.
Uh, the, my one benefit, I've got a Switch Pro controller, and that works on the two, so I didn't have to buy a new Pro controller. Yes, it's missing some on the new buttons, but it works perfectly fine,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
and
nice.
yeah, that is nice.
The camera's complete tat though, Hayden.
Yeah,
Complete tat.
to be honest, my son hasn't even plugged it in. He's not
Man
bothered
sat better
about
than
it
me,
at
mate.
all.
Yeah,
I
there's no
think
need
I
for it.
think that'll end up being taken to CEX or something.
My 5 year old's like, but I want to watch friends play Mario Kart while she plays Mario Kart. Like, you're five, mate. You've got no friends. You've got little friends at school, but they don't play Mario Kart. They're not as spoilt as you. But yeah, I'm sure when she's older, she'll enjoy that.
Yeah, but I don't know about you. Say what you think about this because obviously you've played a lot more of it than I have. But for me, now is not the time to buy this. For me, this is an early adopter, massive Nintendo fan sort of time to buy it. But there's very little in terms of really good content for the Switch 2. What's your
No,
feelings on it?
no, it released very bare software wise. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a console come out with so little games to play. Like, there's literally Mario Kart World and upgraded versions of old games. Like, that I don't think that's acceptable personally. Why wasn't Donkey Kong, which is out next month, just brought forward to bring out a release date? Give some. That looks pretty good, Donkey Kong. I'm not sure I'll buy it or play it, but it looks pretty nice. That'd have been a nice release date game. Like, I think that's an insult to Nintendo fans to have to launch with one game. Personally, on a console that's what 480 quid.
Yeah,
Like, what on earth? Well, like OG Xbox One release, you got 20 games on release. This is an example. And that was a new console with no prior history. This is Nintendo. If they'd have released with 10 day one games, Nintendo fans would have bought all of those games. That's how Nintendo fans are.
yeah, exactly. And not only that, but think about, excuse me, how many games that there were on the Xbox One, which we know back from the cranky days, there was a big thing, wasn't it, about, oh, well, PlayStation's got more and blah, blah, blah. And, Xbox has nothing. But this is a console with its release and even less.
It's insane.
Xbox did with. It's like how how do we get to a situation where we have games, a games console that costs so much money. To me, if you were going to buy a Steam Deck and a Nintendo Switch 2, buy the Steam Deck now, get the Switch 2 later on,
I think the
preferably when
Switch,
it's come down.
in my opinion, here, right, between like the Nintendo handheld and the PC handhelds, the Nintendo handhelds are really nice, simple, pick up and play options. I think if that's what you want, go for it. It's easy. You put your game in, you play it, you'll have a great time. It looks nice. But if you want something a bit more substantial, like I was on the fence to get like a Legion Go or a Steam Deck for months and months, and then I finally took the dip and bought one, and I absolutely love it. Like, I've got hundreds and hundreds of games already because there's loads of PC sales where you get a game for a penny. Um, Nintendo games are never on sale, so be prepared that every game's going to cost you 50 to 80 quid that comes out and will never be reduced ever. Um, and you can buy a game for, I don't know, buy a humble bundle, get 30 games in it for £7 on your Steam Deck and play like three of them. But that's how we are as game collectors.
Yeah.
I mean, your scope for a PC handheld is so much bigger than a Nintendo handheld. I like the design of the Switch too. I like the games that are on it, but there's no longevity there for me. Like I can do whatever I want on my Legion Go. I can stream up Xbox games in it. I can just do whatever I want with it. It's an amazing piece of kit.
Mm. Yeah, whereas you're just so limited in terms of that as a console.
Shame.
Um, yeah, and but I suppose if you've missed an awful lot on the old Nintendo Switch library, there's a lot of games for you to go back and see them better than they've ever been, uh, seen before, basically. But I mean, it's funny you should say it about humble bundles, but do you do the humble bundle choice?
No, never. No, I generally own most of them when they come around.
Yeah. See, I must admit, I've it's very few PC games that I buy until they come on to, I wait for them to come onto the Humble Bundle choice. So, say this month, there was Warhammer 40,000 Bolt Gun, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2, Nobody Wants to Die, uh, Dungeons of Hinterberg, Cheer, Scare Ritual, Biped, Havoc Duck. You got a month's IGN Plus, and then Boot Dev 1 month subscription, all for what's it, 10 quid, 9 quid, something like that.
It's 8.97, wasn't it, for all them?
Yeah, so it's something like that. But then you look at the bundles as well, and there's well, in terms of games, there's 6 bundles there now. So there's like the most expensive one is something like what, £7? You get 7 items in there. Um, I mean, so, I must admit, I think in terms of humble bundle, the normal bundles, I think you have to be a little bit more careful with them these days than they used to be. Because what I tended to find is when you used to buy them years ago, it used to be filled with like AAA games, and now there might be one or two AAA games, one of which you've probably already got, and then the other one that you were thinking of buying. I don't know if you've found the same.
Yeah, they used to be much better. My first Humble Bundle I bought at Hayden was a Star Wars Humble Bundle. It was a bit more pricey. I think I paid 17 quid for it, but it came with 30 Star Wars games,
Yeah,
and they're all on my Legion Go now. Those games. That was a great buy.
yeah. I mean, there's one on at the moment, Humble Game Bundle, and for a good story, which is it's just basically it's a open world sci-fi story game, Lifeless Planet and Lifeless Moon, which both within one of the bundles this month. There's 12
Mhm.
items in there, but for £8.84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84. 84 which is
It's not
not too bad.
it's not bad. I do feel they've got a bit more filler in these days though. Like the most recent one, like use the humble choice. There's only
Yeah,
one game in there that I want to play.
which one was that one? Oh,
Nobody
God.
wants to die. I really fancy that.
Yeah, yeah,
That'll
that
be
does
two.
look good.
That'll be £2 in the Steam sale low in a month's time, Hayden.
Yeah, true, true. But it's one of those ways that you end up with getting all the games in you're getting your massive libraries, isn't it? Is that you buy things like Humble Bundle and you add all of the things, but do you ever play all of the games?
You can install half of them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, don't even get on, you just like get added and then that's it.
You know what the title
So
screen looks like on most of them, Hayden.
yeah, no, I'm very similar as well. Um, so just thinking about some of the news that's out there. Um, Obviously, there's the new details about the PS6 and Xbox next gen leaks. Have you seen some of those?
I've seen some of the Xbox stuff. I haven't seen any of the PS stuff.
Right. Well, evidently both consoles are set to launch in 2027, with one of them potentially arriving sooner than that, evidently, which I think is probably a bit wishful thinking on behalf of whoever it was who wrote the original story. But along with tentative release timeframes regarding the hardware under the hood of the PS5 and Series X and S successors are AMD's next-gen graphics architecture. So although their late 2020 launches don't feel that far away, the Series X and S and PS5 well into over half of the life cycle, which we know, which is typically 7 to 8 years. But the rumours surrounding the PS6 began um, circulating last year, and Microsoft has already confirmed a few times that the development of the next gen Xbox console is well underway. Um, Over at NeoGAF, credible industry insider Kepler L2 recently spilled some beans regarding the surrounding the tech powering of these next gen systems. And according to them, both Sony and Microsoft are planning on equipping the next gen's consoles with the AMD UDNA architecture, essentially embracing RDNA 5, supposedly a heavy AI upgrade to AMD's RDNA graphics tech, and UDNA is expected to deliver around 20% greater rasterization and twice the ray tracing performance over the Gen 4 architecture. So,
Can I quickly get your opinion on something, Hayden?
yeah.
So obviously the PlayStation 5 Pro released recently. If you're an adopter of a PS5 Pro, are you a bit angry that there might be a new console out in a year and a half?
I am not an adopter of PS5 Pro.
Neither am I. Neither am I. But
And to be honest, I looked at it and I thought, what advantages am I really going to get? Because the realistic thing is, my console is one with a drive on it. It's not the digital version. So I would have to buy the drive, which would be 100 quid. Or yeah, I know you can get it in sales at 60 sometimes, but depends upon when you buy it. And then the 650 or whatever it is for the PS5. I just think that they've priced it out of the market. I think what they should have done was obviously they've reduced the cost of production of the PS five now. They should have brought a cheaper price in for the digital console and then have the PS5 Pro as like a £500 console. But I think any more than £500 for a console is just ridiculous.
yeah, my PlayStation 5 is absolutely on its way out at the moment. It turns itself off intermittently. I've got horrendous stick drift on my controller. it has seen better days. It's literally hanging in there by a thread, and it's very much my second console, my PS5. I play on my Xbox a lot more. I'm no fanboy, listeners. I do apologize. I own all the consoles, um, and I'm at that point now. Do if it dies in the next month? Do I buy a PS5 Pro? But now this news has come out. There might be a new console out in 2027. Do I just become a one console house for a year and a half? It's conceivably 18 months away from a PS6. It would be insane for me to spend 700 quid on a console with a new one come out in that shorter time frame.
I would just get the PS5 Slim, to be honest.
We get a second-hand one cheap, right?
Yeah. Well, CEX now do it with 5 years guarantee, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. It's quite a good
So
idea.
yeah,
But I have pre-ordered Death Stranding too, so it's out in a couple of days. I'm concerned my PS5 is going to explode when I load it up.
it probably will. But
Yeah.
do you what orientation do you have your PS5?
It's horizontal.
It is. Oh, okay. That's unusual then because I have mine horizontal and it's fine. But
It's
I'd heard it was if you have it vertical, that's where you get the problems because you get the leakage of um, the metal liquid coolant stuff coming out of the thing and causing shorts.
right. No,
So
it's always been the same spot since I've had it.
yeah. Oh well, it should be all right then. Being on that. Have you tried hoovering it out?
Recently, and it did do the job for about 3 days, and now it's started turning itself off again intermittently.
That's weird.
I know, I can't explain it. Like it's not immaculate by any sense, but it's clean inside. So like that's not the problem. So I have no idea what's wrong with it.
Mm,
I mean, it's had some use. Don't get me wrong. I say it's my second console. It's probably seen about $8,000 worth of FIFA over the last few years.
yeah. Well, it is what it is, isn't it? But nothing lasts forever. But if you're talking about that length of time, it is a long way to go. So maybe getting a PS5 Slim or at least one, digital, or if you want one with a drive on, get the drive version. Might be a thing. Are you a digital only content now, or
Yeah,
just a
but
buy physical?
I don't buy movies or games on disc, Hayden. I know
Right.
that'll pain you a little bit, won't it? The movie comment.
No, no. People absorb movies in whatever way that they want now. I mean, I've just got an Apple TV, so the TV box for the digital content that I watch. So because to be honest, I am so sick of my Philips TV with bloody Android on it because Android is awful on a TV. It's so slow on a Philips TV, and it will only work every other time that you switch it. Literally have to switch it on. The ambi light comes on, and I have to switch it off, and then switch it on again for the um, processor inside the TV to go. Oh yeah, I was supposed to load up the home screen, wasn't I? So I just thought it'd be easier just have it being defaulting onto the HDMI and just turn the Apple TV on, and it's just straight on, bam, right where I wanted it to be.
Right, nice. I'm due a new TV next year, I think. I'm ready for an upgrade. I
Yeah,
don't know what yet. I don't know what yet. Something flash.
yeah. Well, it's going to be a few years before I upgrade my TV because I only upgraded mine about 2 years ago.
Mine's about 5 years old.
Yeah, but to be fair, I had only just upgraded it a year before that as well. Um, and I said no because I've always used LG TVs because I've always said they've been really good pictures. But the picture started going really blue, and there was like a clouding sort of effect in terms of the way that the blue was. So when you had white, you could sort of like see this shape where it was supposed to be white, but it had gone this funny shade of blue. very pale, but it was definitely there. And my wife was that, I said to my wife, I'm going to upgrade my TV. And she was like, you've just had a bloody TV. Blah, 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 blah. And I said, no, I'm upgrading my TV because this is doing my head in. Because when I was looking at people's faces, they were like turning into purple.
I've had an LG blue Hayden. My last TV was an LG that went blue,
Yeah.
and it was so blue by the end. I still managed to sell it for 50 quid to some random guy who bought it off me, even though it was completely blue.
Oh, to be honest, I just stuck it into our sud lounge and said to my wife, "There you go, you've got a TV for your room." Seeing as it, you say it won't bother you, and she's never switched the bugger on. So,
It's an LG problem that I've had. When I looked into it, there's quite a lot of LG TVs have that issue, and mine was so blue. I have a picture somewhere. I'll have to send it to you because I honestly, it was unbelievable.
yeah,
Because we hung in there a little bit too long with it, I think.
yeah. Oh well, this TV now is more or less exclusively used for when we're playing House of the Dead on the Wii.
Right? Oh, does that look blue?
You can't really tell, to be quite
Do you
honest with
know?
you. No,
Right.
because there's a lot of blue in that game anyway, so it just sort of like all merges in. But yeah, it's a great. I love. I love the shooting games with the Wii. They're quite good. So anyway, you've got the notes there. Do you want to just go through what the new releases are for this month?
New releases. Check this out. I'm getting to do a whole section, listeners. I'm thoroughly excited. Okay, I've not even heard of half these games, Hidden.
No, neither
So
have I.
do you want to do the rest of June, and are you going to do July,
Yeah,
or
go on
do we
then.
just yeah?
I'll
So
just do that bit, and I'll do the one for I'll pick through for the movies later on.
okay. New releases, listeners, coming starting from Monday the 23rd of June 2025. We have Nedra released on PC and Outrider Maycore also released on PC. Coming Tuesday the 24th of June, we have Quantum Rich and Shuffle Tactics, both on PC again. And then the day after, on Wednesday the 25th, we have Heroes of Mount Dragon and Second Chances, also both on PC. Do I sound like a bingo caller doing this?
Yeah, you end up sounding a bit like a bingo caller.
Legs 11. Sorry, Thursday the
Number
26th of
10,
June.
Stammers Den.
Thursday, 26th of June, 2025. Death Stranding 2 on the beach. That's what I'm looking forward to hearing. Are you interested in that?
Oh
Quickly.
yes. Oh yes.
Yeah, can't wait. We also have Ruffy in the Riverside. Persona 5, the Phantom X. Now, I'm a big Persona fan, and this is like a free to play Persona RPG. If anyone's a Persona 5 fan, looks quite interesting, but it's going to be riddled with microtransactions, just to warn you. Releasing on PC, iOS, and Android. Obviously, Death Stranding 2 releasing exclusively on the PS5. Probably see on the PC and Xbox probably a year later. We're also getting System Shock 2 25th anniversary remaster on everything, and a front mission free remake on the Nintendo Switch. That'll be interesting. Friday, 27th of June, we have Tamagotchi Plaza, reaching the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. 1st of July, we have Mecha Break, which has been a long gestating PvP mech fighting game, which was shown at the most recent Game Fest. Doesn't look very good, quite generic. And moving forward, our next release on Thursday, 10th of July for EA Sports College Football 26 on the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. And finally, Friday, 11th of July, we have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 remasters, release on everything, and Patapon 1 and 2 replay on Nintendo Switch, PS5, and PC. Thanks for throwing that at me, Hayden, and just dropping me into the deep end. Thoroughly
Well,
appreciate it.
that's all right. That's quite all right. That's why I showed you the notes.
My co-hosts are going to give me such a grilling over that when they listen to this episode.
Are they?
Yeah. So I don't know
Okay.
if you noticed, I have a lisp, and a lot of those games had R's and S's in them. Like I tried really hard to hide it, but I wasn't prepared at all for that. So
Don't worry.
thanks, Hayden. Appreciate it.
Half of the time, you just end up not knowing how to pronounce half of the words that they call games nowadays. Anyway, don't you?
Everyone
But
skips that bit anyway, right? That's what I'm
yeah.
saying to myself.
But I must admit, I'm looking forward to Missile Command Delta because I always used to like Missile Command, and I recently picked up an Atari 2600 Plus.
No way.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
class.
and it brand new one, outputs to HDMI. You know the modern console, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
plays cartridge games and it plays the originals.
I've seen one. Really nice piece of kit. I'm not sure I'd ever played it because we played an Atari game recently, Hayden. Those sound effects like chalkboard nails these days.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's Block City, absolutely. But
Empire Strikes Back though was a banger on the Atari
God,
2600.
yeah.
I
But the
loved it. Man,
2600 Plus also does 7800 games as well.
oh really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't need any more gear, Hayden.
And I picked
Such.
it up, but I picked it up for 36 quid.
Oh well, you can't argue with that, can you? You're
No,
being rude not to buy it.
no. And I've also bought a cartridge which has Breakout and games like that with proper paddle controllers, the original ones as well.
Right.
And they're all the Atari port things, so they're backwardly compatible, the controllers. So it is a proper 2600, but with HDMI basically.
It's
Even
cool.
right down to the big switches, you have to do those on the console.
That. Jam your cartridge in the top.
Jam your cartridge in top, and then when it loads up, you've got to reset the thing to start the game. It's
Good old
it's
cartridge
uh, it's it's
systems.
a bit of an experience, shall we say? So, any other games you want to talk about?
I mean, I've listed loads there, but I'm not sure. I will talk about the most recent release. I don't know if you've heard of this rematch that's come out recently on Game Pass and it's on PS5 as well. It's basically Rocket League, but with
Right.
actual human characters playing like 3-a-side to 5-a-side football.
Okay.
It's from the makers of Sifu, you know that kung fu game that released last year, which was
Yeah.
like brutally hard. And they've now gone into an online football game, PvP. It basically is just Rocket League. Like it's got the most protracted control system I've seen in a game. It's come so fiddly. It's got horrible lag, terrible netcode. Um, Graphically, it's distinctly average. Like like original release Rocket League, how that looked, like quite basic, not a lot going on really, but you're not really paying notice. Frame rate drops. Uh, there's so many bugs. Like at one point, the ball got stuck on the pitch, and none of the players could take it away from the certain spot. But despite all that, I played it for 9 hours since Tuesday and can't get enough of it. It's super addictive. Like it's so fun playing 3-on-3 football with randoms online. It can also be the most infuriating game I've ever played when your teammates don't pass and think they can Pele the whole way up a pitch. Although you're not a football fan, but I'm going to assume you know who Pele is from
Yeah,
Escape to
I've heard of
Victory.
I've heard of Pele.
But yeah, if any of your listeners like love Rocket League and enjoy football, this is an absolute gem despite its problems. My only drawbacks of it, they banged on about crossplay coming out on release for months before release, and when it landed, there's no crossplay. So that's quite a problem. That I think any multiplayer game releases these days with no crossplay is a real negative in my opinion. There's
Well, I
so many
mean, they've
platforms,
immediately limited it themselves, haven't they? Because
there's so
everybody
much.
expects crossplay.
But to be honest, there's no way their netcode would hold up to crossplay because it generally does die regularly during matches. But it's so fun to play. Like it does take some getting used to with its controls, but when you get into it, it's flicks, it's passing, it's shooting. It's incredible fun. You play rush goalkeeper, so that can be total chaos. And absolutely, I played it. I put it on a 10 o'clock this morning and played it till 1 o'clock when my friends came on to play Division Two. So probably getting divorced later for playing games all day, but I had a good time. So I would recommend it. But my biggest criticism of it obviously released about crossplay, which is a big hurdle. But all of its microtransactions are present. They didn't miss them, did they?
No.
Season pass, microtransactions all work perfectly. And that is one of my biggest gripes in gaming, is where it's missing features, but they've still managed to throw all your microtransactions in there to get a couple of quid out of you.
Mm,
Opinion? What's your opinion on that, Hayden? Like unfinished games releasing with stores and season passes?
really annoys me. Really annoys me. To me, things like um, I think that Destiny does it more right than most in the fact that the stuff that's in the store is an enhancement that doesn't enhance gameplay. Because I think the moment that they start doing the like Star Wars Battlefront 2 pay to win sort of approach that that game used at one point, that kills the game immediately because it's whoever's got the most money is going to win. So, but it annoys me when they don't sort the game out before they sort the microtransactions out. I mean, I can understand why they do the microtransactions because that's how they get their extra money, but they've already had a lot of money for you from that game right from the off, unless, of course, it is a free to play.
It's 20 quid on PlayStation.
Yeah, if you're paying money for it on PlayStation, that should be working first before they introduce the microtransactions.
I hate it. It's one of my pet peeves of gaming that currently. Like
Yeah.
broken games loaded with microtransactions. Like
Mm.
get your game right first, guys. Come on. The best games they released this year haven't had any microtransactions. Like Cloud Skewer, Expedition 33, totally standalone game. Like
Yeah.
Split Fiction, another one, totally standalone. Let you play with a friend for free, and they'd have to buy it. Like that's proper game design, that isn't it? You invite all your friends to play it, and they didn't have to buy the game. Like madness, that to be fair, because I missed out on so many sales. But I think that's the kind of the customer care that will, or like that's the kind of thing that'll get me on board with game developer now. If they do stuff like that, like go above and beyond to like to make games that they want to make and make them for you, make them an enjoyable experience. So just fill them in adverts and try and rinse us for money. And I'm a man that spent 300 quid on Destiny 2 content, but I believe, like you said, they do it right. You don't have to buy it.
Yeah,
I
you
do.
don't.
You buy what you want. It doesn't affect the gameplay unless you're buying expansions and stuff.
And to be honest, and if you don't buy it, other than the expansions, you'll probably win it at some point anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's the irony. It's like the stuff that I've recently bought have been purely cosmetic, but it's just because I wanted my warlock to look like an Emperor's Royal Guard.
yeah. Who doesn't want to spend 16 quid to look like a stormtrooper? I mean, come on. No brainer for us, Hayden.
But I mean, it's like my warlock is the Emperor's Royal Guard outfit, but with the Matrix, uh, dropping text
Oh
going
yeah,
over it.
yeah.
So it
The
does look
str
really cool, to be fair.
the strands skin.
Yeah,
I've got like a metallic shiny blue stormtrooper and he looks amazing. Like every color palette looks class on a stormtrooper, I swear.
yeah,
He makes some brilliant combinations.
yeah. I must admit though, I wish that they'd have done the Imperial Scout for the Hunter as opposed to
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it was that they did, because it wasn't a proper stormtrooper, but it was it was like it looked like the Black Death Troopers that Krennic had on Rogue One more than anything else.
Wouldn't a hunter looked amazing with Princess Leia's bounty hunter armor from Return of the Jedi?
Oh, the Bosk. What? Not
Yeah.
no, no, it wasn't Bosk, was it? But it began with B.
I mean, you're the one who would
Yeah.
know this.
It was Boost or something. Boost. I can't remember. Brain's gone today.
That that would have been a great hunter costume, right? That one.
Yeah,
I think
but
that would have really worked.
I think if they were keeping it in line with, but they could have gone with Mando. That would have
Yeah,
worked.
yeah, absolutely
But
would have worked. Yeah.
for me, when you think about the role of Imperial Stormtroopers, the Scout Trooper would have been perfect.
The save
So
him, the
sorry.
save him Mando for they're gonna save Mando for that Star Wars expansion out in the later in the year, aren't they? We'll get
Oh
it then.
yeah, yeah, no doubt. And let's face it. I mean, to be honest, when Mando came on Fortnite, that was the only reason why I played Fortnite. I played 2 games to get the Mando outfit, and that was it. I stopped playing it. Because it's just like not interested in Fortnite.
No, me neither. It's
No,
not my kind of thing. My daughter likes it.
no. I used to like it when it first came out, but I got quickly bored of it. But what I used to do was everybody always used to like pile down to the thing. I just used to gently drop all the way down, and nobody ever shot me coming down. And so, it's like by the time I'd land, half of the map had already eliminated itself.
It's not my
So,
kind of game. Even though I am playing Elden Ring Night Rain currently, which is basically Elden Ring Fortnite.
right. And
Do you know anything about this, Hayden?
no,
So Elden Ring Night Rain is a spin-off game. It's not a DLC. It's a spin-off Elden Ring game. For Hayden's listeners, I am a big Souls player. I have 100% into Elden Ring. Um, yeah, so this is a spin-off game where you play a three-player PvE. So you drop in with your fire team and go kill a load of monsters. It's brutal. It's really tough. But the whole time there's a big circle closing in on your squad, so you have to basically run around this map at 1,000 mile per hour. So it's basically Elden Ring on like with ADHD. This game it's 100 mile per hour. You have to go bang bang bang, get level up, get weapons fast as possible, and then you fight a boss at the end of the day, and then you repeat that for 3 days. So you get like a big boss. It's a bit janky, but I've put 50 hours into it and it got released like 3 weeks ago. So and I've beat all the bosses now. So I've thoroughly enjoyed it. My friends have suffered having to play it with me. I'm sure Harry, my co-host, will tell you that next time you're on my show, Hayden, how much he has suffered. But yeah, great game. If you're a Souls fan, I think it's definitely worth picking up. But I'm tangenting hugely again, Your Honor.
yeah, but it's fine. It's at the end of the day, it's game content, and it we're talking about games. But yeah, I mean, I've tried getting into the Soul games, and the nearest one I could get was Bloodborne. Was it Bloodborne? The
Yeah,
PlayStation
Bloodborne.
one? Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that's the nearest one that I could get into it. But I've never been a big fan. To me, um, they tend to be if you're into self-harm and you like that sort of game. Because I get it. It's the challenge of playing those games because they are hard by their nature. Um, but I don't know. I get quite bored quite quickly with that sort of thing. For me, I like more games like Mass Effect and that sort of stuff where it's
yeah.
like a long story or Assassin's Creed. I mean, you know how much of an Assassin's Creed fan I am. The only one that I've not um, more or less played to come. Well, the only two I've not more or less played to completion was Rogue, more because it kind of escaped me because I'd gone on to Xbox and that was wasn't going back to 360 to play it. And then the other one was Valhalla because I don't know, I could not get on with Valhalla. I just found it was overly grindy and the skill tree was awful in the game.
I think for me with Valhalla, I was suffering serious Odyssey burnout when Valhalla dropped.
You see, I think that Odyssey was such a good game to then go on to Valhalla, which was such a bad game, really
I
ruined
don't,
it.
I don't think it's a really bad game. I just don't think it's very exciting or memorable compared to Odyssey's like world and characters. Odyssey was peak Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed for me.
Um, I mean, it's like Origins as well. That was a really good game
It
with
was a
the
good game.
with the Egyptian from North Yorkshire because his name was Bayek.
That's the third time you've used that joke with me here on a
I know,
podcast.
I know, I know, I know, I know. Mind you, I haven't told you my other one, have I?
I
So
probably have.
Did you know that the Hoff has officially changed his name to the Hoff? Evidently, it's less hassle.
What time are we recording till?
Yeah, I know. You're going to use it later on, though.
And
Um,
I mean, I'm not texting my friends it right now.
no,
Honest,
no, you're
I'm
going to wait
completely
until you
on,
see him, and so you can see the
complete,
the white of their eyes when you tell them that
yeah,
joke, aren't you?
completely 100% focused on the podcast, not sending jokes to my own podcast crew.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, but I think that Odyssey was really good, and I'll tell you one that I think that really passed people by, and I've said this to you before, was Unity. Once that was fixed, that was a really good game. And
It
Anno
looked
was,
amazing, Unity, when it was fixed.
well, to be honest, I think Unity looked better than Odyssey did, to be fair.
Do you
Um,
think?
yeah, I do.
I don't know if I
You,
agree with that, Hayden.
no, it looked really good. It looked really good. What once it was patched and got rid of the, half missing faces and stuff like that. Once it was started, you're going, and I think Anno was the second best protagonist in the whole
Cass-
series.
Cassandra's the best protagonist, and you've never even played as her. We've had this
I have
conversation
played
before.
as a, I have played as a. I just
Not,
don't
not you
play
haven't
much
not
as
finished
a.
the game though, with her, have you?
No, but I have played and completed twice, and I'm playing on the third run through on Odyssey.
I couldn't imagine playing Odyssey not as Cassandra because she's that good a character. I It's her story for me. It's weird, isn't it? You've never even played as her properly.
But for me, it's the other way around. It's her brother that is the story.
Yeah,
It's like if you'd have done it the way around that I would have done. But it goes back down to this thing of, for me, excuse me, if you're playing a game and there's the option to play male or female, I will always go male because I am male.
I don't know. I mix things up a little bit with my games,
Yeah.
but I like the look of Cassandra. And I heard her voice acting was better than Alexios, so that's why I picked her.
Well, I think Alexius was he was all right. I don't think there's anything the matter with him. But yeah, I mean, I think for my sort of point of view, I've only seen most of the dialogue with her as the bad guy,
It's
as
crazy that to me.
Demos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might have to do it one day just to see her as a bad guy, see how she plays.
Oh, she plays really tough.
Yeah,
But I did get the good ending where, I had her with the family and didn't kill the dad and all of that sort of stuff as well.
yeah, I did that from her side.
Yeah.
We reconciled, shall we say?
Yeah, I did that from the Alexius side. So between us, we've seen the
Yeah, we'll have to
whole picture.
we'll have to do like a 5 hour podcast Odyssey retrospective. I'm joking,
Yeah.
Hayden. Before you actually pencil that in.
I was going to do that about 4 weeks' time. Okay, so tell you what, let's move on. So we'll move on to movies, TV, and streaming.
In quest of a better life,
All right, so I'm not going to drop you in at the deep end again
Yeah,
in terms of things. So first off, bit of news. Evidently, Russell Crowe is going to reunite with Man of Steel star Henry Cavill for Highlander remake. Evidently, Russell Crowe is set to uh, be in Highlander. The first details on what is no doubt going to be a major addition to the cast comes from Collider, which says a 61-year-old Gladiator star is now in the role for John Wick creators Chad Stahelski's new reimagining. Fans can expect to see him serve as Cavill's mentor in the film, providing a new version of the part originally played by Sean Connery. So um, we're going to have a Australian Spaniard as opposed to a
uh,
Scottish Spaniard.
I can't wait to see him announce himself as Ramirez with an Australian accent rather than Connery's Scottish Ramirez.
Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing.
Now he is he is well. A couple of thoughts here. One of the things that it's saying is that it's been previously told by the director that were bringing it forward from early 1500s in the Highlands to beyond the present day New York and Hong Kong. And there's a big opportunity for action, and it's a bit of a love story, but not how you think. I do hope that that doesn't mean that there's going to be, like same sex sort of thing, because obviously, was it Brenda who was his girlfriend? It was Christopher Lambert's girlfriend in
Something
the
like that.
original Highlander. I'm sure it was Brenda because that was the same name as my mum, and I thought, oh, it's the same name as me mum. Um, but it's just sort of like it always worries me when they make statements like that that it's gonna end up being a woke nightmare because these things always end up being like that. But I can't imagine Henry Cavill and Russell Crowe going for that somehow. So I don't know what they're going to mean by that, but
I think they'll move
um,
away from the romance side of it. Look at that statement.
to be honest, I think that we just need to get away from all of that and just go back to good sci-fi stories.
I think we'll get a female Kurgan who's in love with him.
That
Former
that
part, former partners. Now she's the Kurgan. That could work.
that could work. Yeah, that'd be an interesting sort of approach. Or Russell Crowe is defending Kurgan
Or
because
Russell
he was
Crowe
in
is
love with
Kurgan.
her. Or yeah, well, maybe.
But
Um,
you do a female spin on Kurgan because I don't think anyone's living up to Clancy Brown's take in the original. Like you should get a different perspective.
yeah,
Maybe
but
she could
Clancy
be a
Brown was
samurai
so
or something.
iconic,
Oh, he
so
is. He's so
iconic.
good. I don't want to see another Mel Kagan here, and I'll be happy with a female one.
Yeah,
He's
all right.
brilliant, isn't he?
I mean, everybody everybody says about the best Highlander is obviously the first one, and it just went downhill after that. But what about Highlander 2? Because that completely changed the law from
It is.
being
Go on.
obviously actual Earthlings, the occasional one who was immortal, to being um, aliens that are being put on Earth. What were your views on it?
Oh, it's preposterous too. It is completely preposterous. But I had a great time watching it when I was younger. I
Yeah,
really did. Like somehow Sean Connery's alive again, and I
well,
think this.
he gets resurrected from the quickening, doesn't he?
Oh, that's right. The quicken. I forgot about the quickening. That's what it's called, isn't it? Highlander 2, the quickening. I have a very fond memory of the scene where they're driving into the bad guy's base and they just get riddled with bullets, and then they both sit up and count how many times they've been shot. Like vivid memory of that scene, but it's been a good 20 years since I've seen Highlander 2. But
Yeah.
loved it as a kid because it's so stupid. But
Well,
Highlander 1's stupid though, isn't it? They're not high art, these
oh,
movies.
yeah. Say Steve will go bonkers with us because uh, Steve, like I think prays. I think he has a prayer mat and he prays to Highlander on a regular basis. Um, he's got that, and next door to that, he's got Blade Runner that he does even more prayers to. But for me, Highlander, I mean, it's an iconic movie and it's a cult classic. But I don't think it's one of the best movies of the 80s, to be fair.
I I think it's on a similar level of Masters of the Universe Highlander for cheesy crap entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, what I remember about it, other than having a brilliant soundtrack of Queen, and bearing
Yeah,
in mind, I've watched this probably about 40 times, is it's got awful audio, especially the screams and stuff like that. It's like, um, it's such canned screaming that you can actually hear the echo of the tin. It's awful. It's some of that stuff, like when Brenda or whatever her name is tagging from that neon sign when it falls over it near the end of the movie. Um, so and all of that, but I actually, while I don't think that they did a good job of it, I kind of like what they did with two. And it's like, would you want to see them try and merge the one and two together to give it a storyline that was based in two, but was honouring the first movie as well? Or would you want them to just do something completely different, or just do a modernisation of one?
I think Highlander should have been a complete one-off the original movie. One and done. Stone cold classic cheesy goodness. But instead they made about 15 films, about 15 TV shows of it, spanning decades and different there can be only ones. There was like how many ones was there?
Well, exactly.
Like I love the original. I got a lot of enjoyment from two. Three is generally terrible, and the shows were generally terrible. Um, I can imagine they're gonna bypass the Alien story on this remake, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see, but I think that this is going to be like a bit more futuristic sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see what they actually do come up with. I mean, it's going to be a day one at the cinema. Go and see. I know that.
Really?
Um, yeah, I think so because it's like a rebirth of an iconic, and I tend to, you know, go to them certainly in the first week anyway. Maybe not first day or first
Do
showing.
you not remember Total Recall's remake, Hayden?
Yes, and we're still scarred from that. I've recently just come out of therapy for that, so I'm gonna have to go back into it because that
How
was
about
terrible.
how about the RoboCop remake?
The RoboCop remake was Shakespeare in the Part comparison compared to Total Recalls. Um,
I think Total Recall remake's better than RoboCop remake, personally.
I thought the RoboCop remake was better personally, but
I mean, to be fair, it's not a very high bar that Hayden in terms of movies.
no, no, it's not. I mean, you certainly couldn't limbo under it.
No, I'd have to melt. Put some water on
Yeah,
me.
um, but yeah, I mean, I love you know, um, love the original RoboCop. It's such a classic, such a classic movie. Um, and I think that there are certain movies shouldn't be redone again. It's like no one ever should do Back to the Future again. That
No,
that trilogy. They're not perfect movies, but that is a perfect trilogy of movies, and they are on a movie scale of like biblical proportions in terms of like this is like how this was a template for how trilogy should be done. Even though it wasn't originally intended to be a trilogy, they put like the to be continued as a bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing, and then suddenly saw it was popular and thought, oh, we better do some more.
I want to ask you something here, Aiden. But I'm
So
concerned we might be. I want to ask you a question here, but I'm
yeah,
concerned we might be here till midnight if I do.
okay.
So, um, in terms of sheer quality, what is the strongest trilogy of movies you've seen?
I think
Or
I've just
like,
answered you.
I mean, how about Lord of the Rings?
Um, yeah, it's another strong one, but that was already based on a book, and there was already a trilogy that had arrived before that. I do think that the Lord of the Rings trilogy is really strong. I think the original Star Wars trilogy was really strong. But I think if you're talking about S tier, Back to the Future is like one of the very few S tier trilogies that's up there.
No, I think I agree. Like, there's not a bad film there. Like, I think three is really underrated personally. I think two
Yeah,
is the strongest of the three. I think
I,
two
I,
is generally an amazing movie.
I think considering the time when they did it, and I mean, obviously they got so much wrong about what the future was going to be like, but when you think about Back to the Future is now firmly in the past, and we still don't have the skateboards and stuff like that, and the flying cars. But um, in terms of just like the sheer creativity, the sheer fun of it all, how it fits in, and what they did when they went back to the 1955 bit. I mean, it's like that bit where, Marty bangs the door open at the end of Back to the Future and then runs off. And then in two, he bangs it open, but he smacks it into his own face in the future, the future version of him. And then Biff, you know, takes him on and stuff like that. It's so well done. And what I loved about the fact that they did with two and three was how two had foreshadowing for three, because Biff was in his bath with the women and he was watching a Clint Eastwood movie. And was it The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or whatever it was? And Marty, when he goes back to the Western Times, names himself Clint Eastwood because he thinks he sounds hard, and then he realizes nobody knows who Clint Eastwood is. But then at the end of the movie, when it's got the shootout, and he does the Clint Eastwood thing of putting the metal over his chest under his honcho, and uh, then uses the same trick on Biff's ancestor as as was used by Clint Eastwood, then making Clint Eastwood's Good, Bad, and the Ugly emulating Marty McFly. Effectively speaking, it was also cleverly done.
Yeah, it's
And I'm
genius
not,
to two and three.
yeah, and I'm not saying it was like scientifically accurate or anything like that, but it was a perfect trilogy of films.
Like a future best trilogies of all time episodes coming up here, Aiden.
Yeah, yeah,
Could
that
be
would be
fun.
good.
Could be
That
fun.
would be good. That would be
When I
good.
throw How to Train Your Dragon trilogy in there.
Yeah. My knowledge of that is like near zero.
Right.
The
One
Vikings and they killed dragons and now they don't. That's as much as I know.
one day I will introduce you to the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, Hayden. Underrated in terms of greatest trilogies of all time. Up there with Lord of the Rings and Back to the Future.
Okay, but I'll only allow you to do that if I know I'll make you suffer. You watch the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston.
I've seen the Ten Commandments, thank you very much.
Brilliant movie. I'll tell you what. In terms of 4K, one of the best 4Ks you can get.
Just a tangent quickly. I don't want to talk too much about this, but obviously we're going to do a
Star Trek.
Star Trek movie retrospective, aren't we? Coming up sooner rather than later.
We are.
So I've started my rewatch and I watched Star Trek: The Motion Picture this week. I've decided I could fill an entire podcast just talk about that one film. There's a lot to unpack with that movie.
Did you watch Star Trek the Motion Picture or Star Trek the Motion Picture, the director's cut?
I believe it was the director's cut.
Well done, that's the best version.
It's also the long version. There's
It
a lot.
is,
There's a lot to unpack.
it is,
I
but
mean,
if you've watched the new version with all of the newest graphics and stuff like that, because they did a big remake of a lot of the scenes on that,
it
in terms
wasn't
of the
that then.
graphics.
there was
All
there
right.
was nothing rejigged there. Is there any
Oh,
scenes that I would not have seen in the original that might refresh my memory here?
well, I can't think off the top of my head, but
There
because
was a
I'm
scene.
so used to watching the director's cut, and now I just watch solely the 4K version because obviously I've got the 4K version, the 4K version of the director's cut, and it looks beautiful. I mean, it's so detailed it hurts your eyes. Do you know what I mean in terms of
Yeah,
parts of it? And then you can always tell the bits, but it's like that I. There's a lot that doesn't make sense in that. Just as like when Scotty brings his nephew up to the bridge when he's dying, why didn't he just take him to sick bay?
there's a lot in that film that needs to be discussed. Obviously we won't do that here, but that is an interesting package. That movie, it shouldn't have even happened. That film here, and I'm not sure how they did it, how it was a success, how they got a sequel, and let alone all those other sequels. But we'll save that for another day.
But it was always nicknamed Star Trek: The Motionless Picture because there's not much that happens in it.
Nothing happens. They just fly in a straight line. The only action's right at the beginning of the film when they blow the Klingon ships up. That's the only action. But that was the point, wasn't it?
Do you know? Do you know what? In some way, there is a similarity to the Last Jedi in that respect. The only difference is Star
Oh,
Trek:
here
The
we
Motion
go.
Picture is good.
If anybody wants any context on that statement, we did do a Star Wars retrospective with Hayden on our podcast. Feel
We
free to
did,
listen. He literally slagged off the Last Jedi for a good hour in that, and I'm a fan of the Last Jedi,
yeah.
so we had different opinions.
And I did tailor down my dislike for it as well.
Oh, he had 4 pages of put downs, people.
Yeah, that bullet points that was,
Yeah, yeah,
and I didn't
four
even go
pages.
through all of them. I did. I only
Oh,
got I only got to about the first 3 or 4 bullet points in the
well,
podcast.
thanks for sparing me.
Well, I just, you said you were going to be prepared to convince me, and I thought, no, I'm going to convince you.
I bet
Anyway,
I've done 75 podcasts on my show, and that is the one episode where I spoke the least.
it was good fun, that though, I must
Yeah, it
admit.
was. It was fun.
Yeah. Anyway, let's do the cinema releases. So, cinema releases, we've got F1 on the 27th. We've got Megan 2, which I'm quite looking forward to. We've got yet another remake of War of the Worlds coming as well. Ma, Chicken Town, Sudan Remember Us, and Jurassic World Rebirth on the 2nd. And then on the 11th, it's the big one, Superman. What you think? What are your thoughts on Superman?
The most recent trailer I actually got a little bit more excited. I'm not. I'm more excited about other films in this list than I am Superman, but I'm not. I'm not going to hate on it because none of us have seen it yet, have we? So we don't know what it's going to
No.
turn out like. I'm not. I hate all of the Snyderverse thing online. Is some of the most foul discourse I've ever seen online. The Snyder fans are the worst people in the world. Um, give this movie a chance. It looks like it's gonna be fun. If anything, it'll be fun, won't it? Give
Yeah,
give 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 them all a chance. They're all new to this. It's a new Superman, new Lois Lane. Let's just see how it goes. What's the worst that could happen?
it's James Gunn, and you've got Nathan Fallon with a bowl
Absolutely.
cut.
Yeah. He's always good for a role. I'm actually more excited about Megan and Jurassic Park, I think, than Superman.
Yeah, I am. But I must admit, the one that which was just being released that I really, really want to see is 28 Years Later.
I watched 28 Days Later last night with my Mrs. Hayden. She'd never seen it before. So we're going to watch them two, then watch 28 Years Later. That's what we're
Yeah,
building up to. I've heard nothing but positive things about Years Later. Cannot
yeah.
wait.
I absolutely can't wait. And a matter of fact, if we hadn't have been recording this tonight, I was going to go and see it.
Right?
But I'm a big fan of the 28
Massive.
days, months later, and this one, and of course, it's all Northeast actors and stuff like that as well, for the most part. So yeah, really good. What more can you say? Um, Blu-ray and DVD releases. Let's have a look. A Fish Called Wander's out on Blu-ray and DVD again. There's the American Pie Presents four films, an American Pie reunion as well. Just having a look through. There is one movie, the most underrated sci-fi movie ever in the history of humanity. Dark
Dark
City
City.
is released on 4K Blu-ray. And I've got the box set limited edition coming for that. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. Lethal Weapon 4K, collector's edition and steelbook, and just a normal 4K version as well is out, and they're all this coming week. And then on the 30th of June, we've got All Star Superman, which I presume is one of the animated series. We've got the Jurassic Park 4K trilogy and Jurassic World 4K trilogy as well. Um, Snow White in 4K. I presume that that's the modern reincarnation that it was the four in 4K means the four people who went to see it. Um, Superman, Man of Tomorrow as well. The Mask of Zorro 4K. I think that that's the Banderas one, isn't it? The Catherine Zeta-Jones, I think.
Yeah, there was two Banderas ones, wasn't there? Is that
Yeah, there
one of them?
was. Yeah, I think it is. Um, and yeah, and then on the seventh we've got Clueless, and that's about it really.
Now
Oh,
give a
Hans
quick.
Zimmer live in Prague on the 14th. I went. I didn't go. It wasn't Prague. It was Hans Zimmer in the desert. But these are really good because it's sort of like him playing his music, but there's interviews with stars and stuff like that. So Hans Zimmer live in Prague might be a really good one to watch.
I'll give a quick recommendation from that list,
Yeah,
Hayden.
yeah,
On when was it? June the 30th. Hayden completely brushed past it to the Jurassic Park 4K trilogy, which I don't blame you. But Flow on 4K Blu-ray and Blu-ray and DVD, Oscar-winning animated movie with zero humans and no dialogue. Absolutely incredible animated movie made by one guy who works in computer animation, very similar to like CGI you'll see in a video game, but it's absolutely beautiful and an incredible experience. I would thoroughly recommend it.
or not one that I've actually seen or, to be honest, heard of, which is why I'm not missed it out. But any other ones that are in there for you?
What do I like? There was a couple actually that I quite like the look of. Dark City, obviously 4K, one of the best sci-fi films I've ever seen. Blew me away when I saw it at the cinema. What else did I fancy? Single White Female, I think it's an underrated movie.
Yeah, it is. Thunderbird Super Space Theatre Limited Collector's Edition.
Who doesn't want the Eurovision Song Contest? Basel 2025 review. I mean, I'm there for it. Over the top. How did you bypass the over the top 4K steelbook? Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling movie. One of the cheesiest things that I've ever seen in my life. But what
That is very true. That is a very good,
a
enjoyable movie.
stone cold classic that I love over the top. One of the first films I have a memory of that movie. Um, have you seen the Snow White remake, Hayden?
No, I have
No, me
no
neither.
intention
I
of
think
seeing it either.
I think I might suffer through it at some point, but who knows?
Well, you have a
Clue.
daughter, so you're bound to suffer through it at some point. But
She doesn't. She's 5 years old and she doesn't want to watch it. She's
I'm not
watching. She's currently watching K-pop Demon Hunters on Netflix downstairs, which is a
fair
new
enough.
animated film from the makers of the Spider-Verse. It's a action K-pop musical animated movie. It's absolutely amazing, by the way. I'd recommend that too. Just dropped on Netflix. K-pop Demon Hunters, everyone. I think that's it. I think Fury on July the 14th, 4K Steelbook. That'd be a nice Sadie collection. I think Fury's a fantastic war movie.
Yeah, yeah, cool stuff. Okay, so we've got the cinema charts. At number five, we've got Papa Meets the Baby Cinema Experience, The Salt Path, Karate Kid Legends. Now that's a movie I want to see.
Yeah, me too.
Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which I have seen, and it's really good. You not
I'm not a
seen it?
fan. I'm
Oh,
not a
you're not
fan
a
of the
fan.
Mission Impossible films, no. Fell off
Oh,
them
fair
hard.
enough. And then probably one you've seen or going to see, Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, probably it's her birthday next month, so I'm going to take her for her birthday to see Leo's Stitch. I'll probably have to see number five as well, Pepper Meets the Baby. I'll have to see
Yeah,
that because I just saw Bluey at the cinema a few weeks ago, which is actually pretty entertaining for a kids film.
yeah,
But yeah, I only go to
uh,
cinema now, Hayden, to see kids films.
yeah. I went through that phase. Now I go and see adult films again. It's a bit of a shame actually because I quite enjoyed some of the kids' films. So Blu-ray charts, we've got number five, Swordfish. At number four, The League of Gentlemen, the complete edition. Number three, The Taking of Plenum 123. Number two, The Quatermass Experiment. And number one, Kingdom of Heaven. So it kind of like feels like we've walked back to the 1990s for that chart. I don't know
Uh,
why.
Did you get this from the right year? This Hayden? Have you just gone in
Yes,
a
I did. Oh, yes, I did.
DeLorean, Did the
Yeah,
guy in the
evidently.
DeLorean turn up outside your house?
All
And
all I can think of is must have happened is that these must have been on offer somewhere.
hidden, right?
Um,
A lot of my friends pre-ordered this Kingdom of Heaven steelbook. It looks real nice, but I think that's a terrible movie. Kingdom of Heaven, hugely overrated, overblown nonsense in my opinion.
I bought it. Never seen it. I bought it because it's what you call it. It was on Lord of the Rings, isn't it? Orlando Bloom,
Yep,
and I have yet to stay awake to see the whole film.
that's
I end up
telling, isn't
falling
it?
asleep about 10 minutes into the movie. It really is. It's like having sleeping tablets. As soon as I watch it, I'm out.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, the Quatermass Experiment. They are classic. That's a classic movie.
it's like the medieval torture movie, Quatermass Experiment. Am I getting mixed up with
No,
something?
the Quatermass Experiment is where there was a lot of Quatermass stuff, and what this one is Quatermass is obviously a British scientist, and then they're doing some sort of expansion in the underground in London, and then they find alien spacecraft buried underneath the ground, and there's these aliens in that are dead that are underground, and it's about them uncovering that, and something weird happens. It's like they're dead, but they're not quite dead, sort of thing. I mean, it's back to like 1950s or 60s. It's not a
Right,
new thing. But yeah, Quatermass is it was a popular TV program in the 50s, I think.
right, okay.
But they did movies of it as well, and I think they did two or three different movies. I've got them on like Blu-ray, but the first time that they came out, sort of thing. Uh, so let's talk about what we've been watching. So I'll just say, if anybody is thinking about, they're fed up of the TV on the smart stuff, I highly recommend the Apple TV box. Um, just purchase one of these after um, you're relying on my TV for ages. And as I said, I've had Android running on my TV, and then on the living room TV, I've had the LG interface. Wow, what a difference when you put a proper dedicated box in, because I've been using Fire TV on my TV in my room as well. And even that's slow in comparison to the Apple TV box. It's so quick, really nice remote control, which is rechargeable by a USB. Um, Really powerful. You can actually play retro games on it as well, using
Right.
RetroArch, because you can download that onto it. And obviously, if you've got an iPhone, integrates very well with iPhone, so you can actually um, put your iPhone on front of your TV and then do FaceTime or whatever with people, and they can see you, you can see them on the big TV, that sort of stuff. Does picture in picture, all of that, which, to be honest, you don't really get that much of with other boxes. So I don't know if you've ever used one, or you got one, or you use
No,
something
no,
different.
never. No, no. I just have Netflix and Paramount at the moment because my daughter made me subscribe to it so she can watch Sonic.
But is that on your TV sort of thing?
I'm just on the Xbox. I don't have
Oh, on
anything
the
on my
Xbox.
TV. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't watch a lot of TV, Hayden. I generally play games over TV and movies.
yeah, yeah. Well, one TV series I would recommend is Murderbot.
I
If you've
fancy this. Yeah,
seen
yeah.
this,
Just
uh, so this is a story about a security bot who has hacked his own chip, limited chip. So he's in total control of himself, and you hear his own internal monologue going out throughout this whole thing. But he's with this group of like new wave hippie space scientists who are on this planet, and it all starts kicking off when they're on this planet when the murder bot is on guard, but is actually watching an episode of his favorite sci-fi space opera.
right.
They've actually really paid attention, and then one of them gets attacked, and he has to save them. And then after that, things start getting a bit weird. There gets to be strange signals on the planet. They go and try and see what those signals are. They get shot down. They have to get back. Um, they look for help from another team that's somewhere else on the planet. They go and see them, find out they've all been killed. And then, they try and escape, and the beacon that sends distress signals has been destroyed, and all stuff like that. And um, there's just so many funny moments with it. And, like the murder bot doesn't like keeping eye contact with people and stuff like that. But yes, at first he doesn't want them to know that he's hacked himself, sort of thing, in case he ends up getting scrapped. Um, because then he's a danger because he doesn't have inhibitors to stop him from killing people and stuff like that. But he wants to call himself Murderbot because of his like fandom of his TV show or whatever that he's watching. And when he has to cope with the emotions of the crew and stuff like that, he's using quotes from the TV show to try and calm down. It's really quite funny to
So it's
watch.
like a weird like black comedy. This then.
Yeah,
Yeah, I might give this a go actually. I saw a few trailers for it. I wasn't really sure what kind of theme it was going for,
yeah.
but
Well, I would
yeah,
definitely watch it. I think
okay,
you'll enjoy it.
yeah.
Um, I think there's about one or two more episodes left of this season, so now's the time to jump onto it really, because also in a couple of weeks' time is the launch of Foundation season 3. So, do you know what Foundation is?
Yeah. I just don't watch it.
All right, well, it's obviously based on the Isaac Asimov books, but that's another really good Apple TV show. In a matter of fact, Apple TV tend to be making some of the best TV shows now. I think you've got like the likes of Ted Lasso, which is really good, and you
Yeah,
know how much I hate football.
yeah.
It's
I've
like
lost.
as soon as anybody starts saying, Pele.
There's no football in Ted Lasso though. It's just Ted
No,
Lasso
there
the show in
isn't.
it.
Well,
He's
well,
brilliant.
there is,
It's not really though, right?
but not. Yeah, the football is a side bit to
Very
everything else.
much, very
But
much.
Ted Lasso's such a cracking show, and evidently
Yeah.
they're doing season 4 now.
I haven't watched season three yet. I've only just finished season two, so I've got a bit to go on that.
Well, you want to watch it definitely
Yeah, I
because
will. I will.
it is really good.
I'm a
Um,
nightmare with TV shows here, and I'll watch like one episode and then just I'll go back to it next week, and I never do.
yeah, yeah.
A
No, I know what you
nightmare.
mean. Yeah, well, we've all been there, haven't we? So, what about you? Anything you've been watching recently?
I've watched all sorts, mainly kids things, no doubt. Obviously, I put my missus through 28 Days Later for the first time last night, and she thoroughly enjoyed it. But there is a show I'd actually like to talk about, which I meant to talk about my own show, but never actually got round to it. So me and my missus watched like two full seasons. One a couple of weeks ago. We just thought we'd have a bit of a binge watching TV rather than play some games. We watched that Good American Family that's on Disney Plus.
Not
Do
seen
you
it.
know that's pretty good. It's the girl from Grey's Anatomy who plays Meredith Grey. I forget her name, but it's
Oh
a
yeah,
story of like the adopted child and the kick her out because they believe she's like a fully grown woman in it, pretending to be a child.
yeah,
But the twist is she's not actually a fully grown woman. They just kick a child out and make her live on her own, even though she's 7 year old. It's that's actually really interesting because like the first half of the show try come kind of plays it towards one side for you about but to root for. Then the second half of the show kind of switches things up, which I thought was really interesting. It really switches like themes and how it approaches things. It's actually really good. I think it was eight or 10 episodes on Disney Plus. I'd fully recommend it. But that's not what I want to talk about. I watched a British show that released in 2018 recently called There She Goes. Have you ever heard of this or seen it?
name rings a bell.
Starring Doctor Who's own David Tennant
Okay,
and Jessica Hines of Spaced fame as kind of a dysfunctional married couple who have a autistic mentally disabled daughter, and how basically it's their life's raising this child. Tennant is the most dislikable father I've ever seen in a TV show. But his character arc throughout, there's only 11 episodes, 3 seasons, 11 episodes. That's all it is. And so we watched it all in one go. Um, and then obviously the daughter grows in age throughout the 3 seasons. Like she hits puberty in the last season, which is really interesting. But Tennant's character arc is brilliant. I think Hines as the mother is just I mean, she's a good actress anyway, Jessica Hines from Space. I think she comes across really well in all of her roles. But it's just it's I got because my daughter's autistic kid, and this really resonated with me as a father, and I laughed at it. I saw similarities in my own life with it, like filling a cupboard full of crisps because that's all your child will eat. um, Tennant does Tennant is incredible. One of the best performances I've ever seen him done. And this is a show that nobody's really heard of. Like I thought you might have seen this out of all the people I know.
No,
It's
I
on
haven't.
it's on BBC iPlayer, 11 episodes, half an hour episode. I would sit and binge it because I couldn't we couldn't turn it off. And I held it in there emotionally until the last 2 episodes where I was uncontrollable broken mess crying in the toilet on my own. Just and like honestly, but like happy tears. I mean, I'll admit I'm a big emotional wreck when it comes to stuff like this, but it was absolutely incredible. It's funny. You'll hate David Tennant, then he'll grow on you, and you'll hate him again. You'll love the mum. It's sad, like seeing how other characters come in. Like there's two granddads, and you automatically think one of them's a bit of a wrong one, and the other one's a nice one because the little girl loves one of them. But then I don't want to spoil it, but the character growth of every character in 11 episodes is absolutely masterful, and I couldn't recommend the show enough. BBC iPlayer has some absolutely incredible like short series on there. I can't remember what that zombie one was called, where they come back to life, the zombies. Any ideas? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's about a lad
I
that
can
comes back
think of
from the
the
dead.
Channel 4 one that's got Nita Dobson in, but
No, I can't remember what it was called now. It was on BBC a few years ago, where there's been a zombie apocalypse, but then they find a cure for it. So all these zombies are brought back to life and sent back to where they came from, where they've killed half of the town. It's set like a little Yorkshire village, which was kind of like the epicenter for a for a zombie apocalypse, and this Yorkshire village had a big uprising to fight the zombies. Funnily enough, but it's quite serious. There's 2 seasons of it, and lands on a massive cliffhanger. I can't for the life of me remember what it was called. But sing the dead. It always is the dead, isn't it? But I would, but yeah, there she goes. Anyone wants a bit of an emotional ride, like funny, get it done in one night. Couldn't recommend it more. I would give it a solid 9.5 out of 10 as far as TV show goes.
mm, yeah, good stuff. Well, I'll have to give them a try, and I'll let you know what I think.
Please do watch that here because I'd really like your opinion. Because like we're Tennant fans, being Doctor Who fans, aren't we? And
Yeah,
honestly, one of the best performing things I've seen him in. Like hated him. I never thought I'd hate David Tennant until I didn't hate him. But yeah, it's
yeah.
incredible, incredibly done. Acting top notch.
So, thinking of Doctor Who,
Here we go.
what's your views on the last
I, I haven't
and
watched
the
any of
regeneration?
I haven't watched any of this, so I don't know any of the context behind it. But obviously, I've seen the whole Billy Piper thing. What has led to hair regenerating, and why is he gone so soon? What's going on?
Well, have you not been keeping abreast of
I
Doctor
kind of
Who?
completely lost interest in it. To be honest, I watched the first couple of episodes. It just felt a bit immature and juvenile
Yeah,
to me,
I mean,
and I just wasn't feeling it.
I think to be honest, since Peter Capaldi left, and even I mean Peter Capaldi's tenure as Doctor Who, it was only because of the quality of Peter Capaldi that kept that show going. Um, I think at that point, and a lot of people, blamed the previous showrunner because he did things like the Timeless Child, which was the biggest act of heresy in Doctor Who that you could possibly do. was rewriting the law, such the canon to such a degree. And so everybody said, "Oh, let's get Russell T Davies back." And Russell T Davies has gone mega woke on everything, and of course has Chuta Gatwa, who is a openly gay as well. Nothing the matter with that, but it's all bled into Doctor Who. All of the wokeness, right down to when Doctor Who was the 14th Doctor, um, got corrected by a transsexual on what their personal pronouns were. And it's sort of
Right.
like, once you start getting, the doctor being told off for use of different pronouns, personal pronouns, that the show's going in the wrong direction. And it's just continued down that path for the last 2 years, and it's alienated so many original fans.
Yeah.
And the attitude of like Ncuti Gatwa is, well, if you don't like it, people, if you don't like it, go and touch grass. And then he complained when people went to touch grass instead of watching the show. So it's all of that sort of rubbish that it's just a problem with Disney. It's a problem with Doctor Who. It's all of these sort of things. And of course, Disney's bought rights to Doctor Who, and they've not been happy about the way that it's worked. So they've now abandoned the contract with BBC. So they don't know what
Oh,
what the situation is
right.
with it all. So there's and that's where it is. So Ncuti Gatwa has been getting you know offers in Hollywood, which I think is great for him because um, it is fantastic. He's a great actor. I'm not knocking him. Don't get me wrong. I don't care about people's what they are. He's a great actor, but just the stories have just not worked for Doctor Who. And I know that there's going to be lots of people who will argue vehemently against me, and that's their opinion. But millions of people have voted with their feet and have gone and touched grass, basically, with it. To use the quote, and it's been getting figures of like 1.6 million per week, which even at its lowest before, it was getting 3 or 4 million.
It's true of
So
that, isn't it?
yeah, it's the show is not dead, but it's on extreme life support. Let's put it that way.
I think the
Um,
problem is, can I just say here, the problem with like I have no problem with gay, trans, any of that. I couldn't care less what's on my TV screen. Nothing puts me off. I'm not watching this Doctor Who because of that. I'm watching it because it was juvenile and didn't appeal to me anymore. I think when you start that, I think most people aren't against, like, don't care what you are or who you are, do they? Like most normal people. And when you start virtue signaling towards those people that already are kind of on board with it and don't really mind what's in the TV show, that will put the not the like us accepting people off that product. Do you agree?
I
If
agree, and
that's
that's what the
if
problem
that's all
is.
you're getting, like, oh, don't call me this. Well, I'd call you whatever you wanted. You don't have to. You don't have to throw it in my face. Like, if that's what you want to be called, I'm happy to call you that. You don't need it's like being at school and lectured by a TV show. Like Dragon Age recently, Veilguard was guilty of it in a game circuit, like, and that was a huge failure too. Like people just get turned off instantly by that kind of stuff, and just it's not the way to raise awareness, in my opinion.
No, it's not. And don't get me wrong. Um, I can understand why they want to introduce it because otherwise it it doesn't allow people who have different to, as gender referred to as cisgender sort of views. Um, it gives them characters to recognise and promote and stuff. Completely on board with all of that, but the vast majority, I think that I think it's to this point now where there's almost like a feeling of it's like a reverse entitlement of if you're in these classes, you're special. Hate to tell everybody, but no one's special. You
But,
know, if
yeah, but,
everybody's special, then nobody's special because everybody's the same.
but we've had
Um,
gay actors for years,
God, yeah, exactly. No, it's,
decades, centuries.
yeah,
I,
you know, it's like look at all the Carry On movies. Look at
yeah,
Are You Being Served? All of the, they've been there for decades. Nobody nobody cares. The only people who are caring that it's put forward, are the people who that they're championing, basically. It's not that we don't care about those people, but we don't expect, like straight culture to be put forward, overly to people either. It's a sci-fi show. It should be about sci-fi things. It shouldn't be about gender identity or anything or other like that. The Doctor can be male, can be female. It doesn't matter. But what they've been doing has just been a little bit OTT, I think. Um, and I think that it's alienated a lot of the audience. And I do agree with you that the main problem has been the stories. They've been very lowbrow sort of stuff. They've not been like very, they've been very childish in terms of the approach, sort of thing, very simplistic sort of things. And I think with very convenient um, plot points as well. They've not been smartly written.
think my like
So
my favorite style of Doctor Who episode here is like where it tinges like very high sci-fi, but with like horror elements as well. It's like the
yeah,
library episodes are my favorite of all time because it's got that horror element and the sci-fi element. Is it the Rivers of Mars, like the zombie style one? There's
yeah, I think
River
so.
song in
Yeah,
it.
something like that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that was really good. That's one of my favorites as well. The really high concept sci-fi episodes with a bit of horror. That's what really got me into Doctor Who, and that's just not existent now.
yeah. I mean, when you look back at Matt Smith as the Doctor, I used to when he first became a Doctor, I thought, no, the show's going downhill. He was a fantastic Doctor.
I agree. I do.
He was really good. The shows were really well written. I mean, you look at that, the Day of the Doctor. So that one, yeah, okay, he did a bit of overacting in a bit where he was like mega old and then he got young again and stuff like that. But that was a really well written and none of the show the the only romance stuff was between like Rory and Amy Pond, and then the Doctor and um, River Pond, River,
River
whatever.
River Pond.
River Pond. It wasn't well. She was
Kind of
River
was,
Pond,
right?
wasn't she? Because
Kind of was.
she
Yeah,
was the pond's daughter. They called her
yeah.
River. So yeah, technically she was, but she became the Doctor's wife. Um, and I know that that would be well. That's focusing on straight culture and stuff like that. But um,
Well, Captain
yeah, and
Jack.
it is. But sorry,
Captain Jack
yeah,
is the least straight character ever, and everyone loves him because he was handled perfectly.
yeah. Captain Jack was great, but they ruined Torchwood.
I didn't watch Torchwood.
Torchwood first season really good. Second season started to get ridiculous, but it was that view of that stereotype that is used against straight people, which is you're only straight because you haven't met the right gay person. Because Captain
Right,
Jack ended up sleeping with every other male star on that show,
right.
right throughout the whole of the thing, and it's like no, that that's not realistic. And I think it just puts the wrong message out in terms of where the show is. Do you know what I mean? It's trying that make stuff like that makes it try to feel like it's forcing an agenda as being natural, and nobody cares as long as these sort of things are natural.
Yeah.
Whereas if they're not natural and they're forced, that's where people start to get turned off.
I know there's been a lot of discourse. I'm going off track again here, Hayden, about the casting for this Legend of Zelda movie with Hunter Schafer up for the main role of Zelda because she's a trans actress. Um, she also really does look like Zelda, in my opinion. But again, people are hating on that for completely wrong reasons. That is someone that doesn't throw herself out into the limelight as a trans person. She just wants to be an actress, not and doesn't really conform to all of that stuff. So I kind of respect her for that. Um, but there's a lot of hate online. I think it comes from both sides. Personally, I
They,
think
they shouldn't be doing that though, should they? At the end of the day, it's like Daisy Ridley getting all of the hate for
yeah,
Star Wars. You know, it's like she was badly written as a character. It wasn't her fault.
no, no, absolutely not. I don't think Daisy Ridley's a terrible actress. I just think she picks terrible movies.
Well, who would have known that Star Wars sequels would have ended up being terrible movies? So,
Or who knew?
yeah, exactly. I mean, looking back, we can say, yeah, that was pretty obvious, but
Yeah.
you can't otherwise. And it goes back to what I've said all along. All of these sort of things, all of these agendas, all of these political correctness and that, it should be about respect. We should respect each other. If it's a part of the story, that's fine. But otherwise, just let it be a sci-fi story.
I think Doctor Who was known for its overarching link together plot lines like span seasons, wouldn't they? Really
Yeah,
interesting. Kept you on your toes, kept you thinking, full of shocks, and all that's dead now.
yeah, it's all predictable and just it's not enjoyable. You know, it
No.
needs to go back to the fun, the wonder that used to come with that show.
Is Billy Piper just going to be a stopgap till they get the new Doctor and the next Doctor in? Is this going to be like Tennant was recently again?
I think she will be.
Yeah, there's no way she's in for the long haul, is there?
I would have thought that because of where she is in her career now, she would have been in too much demand to commit to filming in Cardiff for 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
Um, I might be wrong, but God knows what how that's going to end up being. I mean, they've already sort of like retconned um, the whole thing with Peter Capaldi anyway, hadn't they? Because Peter Capaldi was it a season before or the season before that was in an episode of Doctor Who where he was in Pompeii,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
and they made it part of the story of why did I choose this face? Like he had a choice in terms of it, because we've always thought that the Doctor didn't choose it, but maybe as part of his regeneration, he subconsciously chose it. So maybe what we'll do is, if I was writing Doctor Who now, I would say the Doctor turns into Billy Piper um, version of Doctor who they've chosen this face because they've picked up through some sort of like special timey-wimey whatever thing that Billy Piper in the universe that she's in, because remember she's stranded in another universe with David Tennant as a human.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, that the Doctor has somehow received a message from her that she's in trouble and that maybe David Tennant Doctor is dead or something. The human Doctor is dead, and uh, that's that's how it manifests as he's going through the regeneration into Billy Piper. That she, then thinks I need to go and find her, and goes to this other universe, and then something happens, and then they regenerate from there.
think the problem with this here, and it stinks of publicity stunt to get the fans back on side.
Like the 14th Doctor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very much so. Like it'll be a flash in the pan. We'll probably get two or three decent episodes with her. I think it'll be linked to when she was like linked to the TARDIS that time when she became all powerful, didn't she, and wiped out the Daleks
the
very
Bad
early on.
Wolf.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think it'll be linked to that. Maybe it's like an essence of her lingering in the TARDIS. That's why she's regenerated and looks like this. Like she isn't actually Rose Tyler. She just has her face. So maybe we can have a bit of shenanigans where there's a Rose and a Rose Doctor at some point with two roles for Billy. Um, but it stinks of publicity. So let's get the fans back on board. Give them something that they'll love. And yes, we all love Rose. Rose, one of the greatest Doctor Who companions of all time, in my opinion. Um, but then they're just going to get someone else in to play the Doctor after this. It's too many Doctors over too short a period of time. They'd have to get someone massive in, even just for a season like they did with Chris Eccleston. Get the fans back on board. Have a set of solid episodes. But where did, we discussed before, didn't we? Who we'd like to see as Doctor Who a long
Michael
time
Sheen.
ago. Michael, you said Michael Sheen. I think was it Steve that said Bill Nighy as well as like an older Doctor.
Oh, well, I said Bill Nye
Was it
originally.
you
That
that
he
said
was
Bill?
my original thought because Bill Nye, when you, I could imagine him being a Doctor Who, but playing it like he was on um, Love Actually. That
Yeah,
sort of like for Captain Jack Sparrow sort of approach that he had to to his singing person on Love Actually would work as a very eccentric sort of doctor. Bill Nye would be brilliant as a doctor, but Bill Nye turned it down years ago
I'd love
because
to see Bill as Doctor.
he would be the quintessential doctor. It's like it would have been perfect.
I'm
But
going to
I
link back to
think,
your last episode of your Hayden, if you'll allow me.
yeah,
How about Hugh Grant for a season? He can do silly, foppish, love rom-com as well as that dark side we saw recently.
oh yeah, Heretic, yeah, that was really
We could
good.
he could I think the best doctors can do both sides, like the silly side and the very serious side. Could Hugh Grant pull that off for a season and get us all back on board? I think so.
I think he could. Um, I think that he is too big.
I know,
I
but I
don't
think
think
that's
that
what
the
they're gonna
Beeb,
have to do.
I don't think the Beeb could ever afford him. But I'm not dissing Michael Sheen for this, but I think that Michael Sheen is the realistic gravitas as an actor with level of fame that goes with him because obviously he's also very closely tied to David Tennant as the best mates.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that having him as the Doctor would be the dream that we'd want now.
He'd be
Or
brilliant. He would be brilliant.
I'll tell you who else. I'm going to go really out on a limb, and I can't remember what his name is. But the guy who played, or who is scheduled to play, Sirius Snape in the new Harry Potter.
Right? Is it Junior something? Am I getting that
I've, for-
wrong?
I've forgotten
I
what
forgot
his
his
name
name.
is. Because J.K. Rowling doesn't want him to play because obviously he's black. And obviously Sirius Snape's supposed to be like a pasty white man.
Yeah,
Um, is it It's not. What's the name of the dark
Severus.
arts?
Severus Snape.
Severus.
And
Uh, Papa Ezidue.
that's it. That's him.
Yeah. Because I don't know if you've seen him in Dark Mirror, but he was really good in that.
I don't think I've seen Dark Mirror.
Have you not? You never seen Dark Mirror? Oh my God, you've got to
Black
watch
Mirror.
that. Black Mirror, sorry, Black Mirror.
Yeah, which
Sorry,
episode
yeah.
was he in?
He was in one where he appeared as a demon to this.
The 70s Demon.
Yeah,
From oh mate, it was brilliant that episode. That's
yeah,
that's him, right? Okay, that was a
yeah.
great episode.
I think that sort of energy that he had there would translate quite well as a
Yeah.
Doctor Who.
Oh, that was great. That's a really good show, actually. I still think Domhnall Gleeson personally, but they could never afford him either. He'd
No,
be a great Doctor, but I mean, they're not affording this guy now. He's in Harry Potter, is he? Are they?
no.
He's out of the league now.
Well, if unless of course J.K. Rowling buys it all back.
No, it's not going to happen now. They paid her too much money. As much as she's against it and is a horrible, hateable piece of work, money talks, Hayden. I can only imagine the royalties she's going to get from this.
Yeah, but I mean, I have to admit, I am one for I mean, I've heard. God, I really hope that this is somebody's sort of like wet dream of a nightmare. But Ryan Gosling is going to be Black Panther.
It's not real. This is all stemmed from a comic book storyline currently, and
Right.
it's being blown out of proportion because T'Challa has a son who is he had with a white woman, and he is particularly light skinned with blonde hair, but it's comic accurate. It's a comic line storyline. So people online have seen this and thought, well, let's just cast Ryan Gosling as this white Black Panther then. It's all just blown out of proportion here, and so I would take it massively with a pinch of salt.
Thank God for that because Ryan Gosling has one facial expression. The only time he's ever had two, he 100% improved his performance when he was in Barbie because he had two facial expressions.
Yeah, I like Ryan Gosling.
I don't get him. I
Do
don't
you
get
not?
him, and I don't get Nicolas Cage because Nicolas Cage can't act, and Ryan Gosling, you might as well put a stone where he is because it's got the same amount of acting chops as he has. Because he just doesn't. He doesn't have it. I
I
just
can't.
don't get either of them.
I can't be
But
having you with the Nicolas Cage thing. I love Nicolas Cage. I love so many of his movies. That most recent horror film that he was in was generally unsettling and horrifying. I've completely forgot its name now. But anyway, but yeah, that one with Pedro Pascal was in recently. What was that called?
oh yeah, the one where he was playing himself, wasn't it?
Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent,
Yeah.
where Pedro Pascal's his number one fan. I thought that was brilliant. I really enjoyed Renfield as well recently with Nicolas Cage and
To be fair,
Nicholas Hoult.
Renfield was all right, but I do think that his best role was as Big Daddy in Kick-Ass,
Yeah,
and that's
Kick-Ass is
because his
amazing. Yeah,
wooden acting really helped him when he went on fire.
but don't be like
His
that, Hayden.
kindling.
We've got a Last Jedi situation developing again here. So shall I exclude you from the future Nicolas Cage special that we were planning on doing?
Only if you want me to tell you how bad it was.
Oh, he's got a Best Actor Oscar.
Yeah, that he voted for himself.
Leave in Las Vegas. I mean, it's a rough film to watch, but he's incredible in it.
No, no. There's
Come
better
on,
actors.
come
There's
on.
better actors. No.
Con Air, The Rock. Come on, it's gone in 60 seconds. I know he literally plays the same character in all his movies, but that is not the point. His films are generally entertaining, and there's something about Cage that I like. Yes, Ghost Rider 1 and 2 are generally horrendous, and he has sold out a lot and made some appalling movies, but there's something I like about him.
All joking aside, Renfield, yes,
Brilliant.
I'll give you that. I enjoyed that. But that was more for Nicholas Hoult than it was
Of course
for
it
him.
was.
Um, but in terms of Kick-Ass, I enjoyed that. But that was more for Aaron Taylor Johnson and whatever her name is, who was Hit Girl, than Nicolas Cage. And I think Face Off, I think that John Travolta played the best incarnation of Nicolas Cage.
Oh, Travolta's the star of that movie, no doubt.
Yeah,
He's brilliant in that.
yeah,
But The
but he
Rock, The
played a better
Rock.
Nicolas Cage than Nicolas Cage did.
To be fair, The Rock's got Sean Connery in it, hasn't it? So like, I'm not winning that one either.
Yeah,
And Con Air's got
every
John Malkovich
every
in it.
movie that you actually name that's got Nicolas Cage as a much stronger actor at
Is
the other
yeah,
side, mate.
is there a theme here actually? Gone in 60 seconds, got Vinnie Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, there you
Go on.
go. See,
God, we got right off track here. Where even were we?
I can't remember now. Anyway, tell you what, shall we go on to the listener questions because it is getting on late, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I think my missus might be leaving me soon. So yeah, let's do it.
John, what's happening to us?
Okay, so in terms of listener questions, unfortunately, I do not have Mark's normal questions. So, Mark, you've missed out this time. First time in 181 or 160 odd shows. So, what we're going to do? Probably doesn't even realise that we're recording, no, because if he's not seen me group recently, it's been that long since we've recorded. So, just pulling up the questions now. And we have in the first question is from Albert Manafee, or Menifee, sorry. Um, what do you think the future of cloud gaming will look like when it comes to innovative hardware? I've seen interesting setups like Vulture XR glasses and neckband, 8-bit do mobile controller setups, and other interesting peripherals make cloud gaming experiences better. What's your take on this hardware side?
For me,
Yeah,
they can throw as many peripherals and interesting takes on cloud gaming as, but they need to get the cloud gaming side of it correct first. Like, I use a lot of Xbox cloud gaming, and it's some games are perfect, some games not so much, and I have particularly good internet. I think until we get to like an infrastructure where we can get games running like the woods on our home consoles natively, I don't see any point in all the extra stuff that's going to get thrown at it.
I I agree with you. I mean, I've got the PlayStation Portal. Have you got that?
No, I've got no use
Right.
for one at all.
Um, Well, I mean, I have because I've got my PlayStation in my room. Whereas if I want to be in the living room, I can go and play on this, still play on it, but on the portal.
Right.
Um, so for me, on my home network, it works absolutely brilliant. Since I've gone to proper full 560 megabit broad, fiber broadband, which considering I'm out in the sticks, you're in, middle of town, aren't you? Where there's lots of are you on like 1 gigabit or something where you are? Or
Yeah,
what?
yeah, about that. Yeah, it's pretty tasty.
Yeah. Before I used to get about say 40 or 50 megabits, and it was basically unplayable. But now that I'm on 500, it's absolutely fine for the most part. It's very rare that you really get much of a dropout with it. But I agree with you; it's all about the infrastructure.
I think,
And
I
until
mean,
that works out, it's not going to work.
not to pew the question or anything. I think cloud gaming is actually really really cool. Like, I use it a lot on my Legion Go for like the Xbox cloud gaming side of it. I can access all those Game Pass games, and the thing I like about cloud game is I'd have to install a 300 gig game to my hard drive and delete all my stuff to try a new game. I could just cloud stream it on my Legion Go instead, or even on my
Yeah,
Xbox. I think the idea of playing like VR games on like a standalone VR headset, cloud streaming, would be awesome. But I think that's a long way off personally. I don't
yeah.
think I think clouds are amazing, but I just think why they're not going to make money off that when they can throw other technology at us. So it's not really a priority for them, I don't believe.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all. Um, I mean, for me, I can't see. I wonder if Microsoft, because I know we talked about the next Microsoft consoles, but I think that there is that question of whether or not Microsoft will actually release another console, because there's also been speculation that they won't,
But
other than
we
other
didn't.
than maybe a handheld.
We kind of brushed past the Xbox side of the new console area, didn't we? We talked about the PlayStation side, but we didn't really talk about the Xbox. Apparently, the next Xbox can integrate Steam into it as well, so you're going to be able to play your Steam library and your Xbox library as well as like other. it's basically going to be a Steam Deck on a console, which I am completely on board for because I've got games spread across about 15 different platforms there. If I could single them into one console, Xbox would 100% become my main console then because I've had all
Mm.
these games I could play. Is that the next thing? Are we just going to have access to all of our games no matter where we are? Because that is something I don't think Sony would be on board for, but I think Microsoft clearly are.
But I think that they're kind of like forced to be on that, really, if they're going to continue to release PC games. Because don't forget, Stellar Blade is coming to PC shortly.
Yeah, I just
Or it might already be here. I don't know. I've not tried
I
it
think
yet,
it's
but
yeah, I think it's out already. Yeah, because there's been a load of racing mods, shall we say, circulating the internet, and someone on a website reviewing it called it a Gooner game, which is basically it's just for men to look at women, but it's a better game than that, isn't it? Still a blade.
well, yeah, it is a good game. I mean, to be honest, it's like as with everything else. Let's just get sexuality, sexual identity, all of that out of gaming, and let's just have good games.
Yeah,
Same with movies. Let's have good movies, good TV shows. We don't need all of that other fluff. We've got real life for that sort of stuff.
those Japanese
Um,
developers do not care. They will put what they want in their games.
well, yeah, they will. They will. And then, and ironically, they said that the guy who was like directing the production of Stellar Blade, like was a sad single guy, and he's like saying, "No, this is my girlfriend," and it was his girlfriend or
Oh,
something like
right.
that. Yeah, and she really does look like that, and it's sort of like, yeah, he's not like a nerdy kid in a basement sort of thing. Um, anyway, so yeah, I think that there is development for it to go, but going to be interested to see where it is in 5 or 10 years. I think that until VR sets turn into something like these, I don't think it's going to be mainstream um, in terms of VR headsets because people don't want to wear stuff. I mean, I hate wearing these, let alone putting a VR headset on, which explains why my Oculus Rift hasn't been powered on for a year.
Yeah, I can't play
Um,
VR. It makes me nauseous.
yeah, well, exactly. But that's to do with the refresh rate. Is that because once you get the right level of refresh rate, you're normally all right for that motion sickness sort of thing.
Right.
Okay, so the only other person who's asked two questions, Paul Wilson. So, due to the many advances in home entertainment products, very large screen TVs becoming increasingly cheaper. The average size of the home TV increases in size. Are cinemas destined to go the way of amusement arcades? Are cinemas really a substantial business model considering the cost of the cost to go coupled with with more and more films being made direct to on-screen streaming services. So, um, do we think that cinemas will still be here because a lot of places are basically like putting movies on at the same time as the streaming them? I think is what he's asking mainly.
I've, I've got an answer here. I think there'll always be a place for cinema. I think it is an experience unlike. It's always a great experience watching a movie for the first time at the cinema and watching it at home, no matter how big your TV is. I think diminishing numbers at cinemas is not generally because of the finances involved. It costs me £100 to take my daughter to cinema. 'Cause it's not just cinema; it's bowling, it's toy shop, it's McDonald's. It's £100 every time I take it. So that's a rare occurrence for me. And I also paid £30. Me and my friend paid £30 to go see Madam Web, which would put me off going to cinema ever again for the rest of my natural life. So
And that
it's a
was
lot
just
of
because it was Madam Web.
yeah, absolutely. And I think with the risk involved, like you don't know if you're going to like every film you go see at the cinema, and you might pay 20, £30 to go see it. Um, how many times you've been to cinema and been disappointed? It's a lot for me. Like, I used to have a Cineworld card and go like 2, 3 times a week, and a lot of those movies were major letdowns. Like, I saw some incredible films at the cinema, like seeing Endgame at the cinema for the first time in a midnight screening. That's an experience you want from the cinema. But my cinema trips personally are very few and far between now because of the expense involved. And the fact that releases like when we were younger here, and we would wait a year and a half for a film from the cinema to come out on VHS to rent, and like run to the rental shop and go, "Look what I've got, Alien Free." Um, and now it's on streaming a month later. Like there's no demand there for it anymore. And it's a shame because I love going to cinema. It's an
Mm,
amazing experience. Like seeing an amazing movie, like I said, Endgame. It's like I don't know, Saving Private Ryan at the cinema, like a really good horror film where you like it's not like this, like looking peeing for your eyes because you're terrified. Like those kind of experiences are like a second to none. But I do think it is something that will diminish over time, and maybe we'll get a lot smaller cinemas showing a lot less movies. I just like streaming is a big part of that. Obviously, like we said, there's so much choice, there's so many networks, and you can pay £6 a month for get Netflix and like have thousands of movies there to keep you occupied. So like the big sim release you're waiting for is on there in a month. But
yeah.
it's just not as exciting as it was when we were kids.
You see,
There's no mystery.
my my view of this is, I mean, I've grown up with the cinema. To me, if it's a film I want to see, I want to see it first at the cinema because I want that big screen experience. Because there's very few films that once they've gone, you get the opportunity to see again. And that's why when like The Matrix came, was it last year or the year before? It might be the year before that now. Uh, and it was on at not Showcase, the one that was at Catrick. They showed it in there in the smallest screen, which about 30 people could go in that. It was fantastic to go in and watch after 20 years, seeing that movie at the cinema again. Because I'd been, I've had it on 4K since it got released, and I'd had it for ages on 4K. I could have seen it at a higher resolution than was at the cinema because the cinema was portrayed at 2K. But it didn't matter because it was on that big screen.
Yeah,
And there is something about the whole experience of going, and whether or not you even, because I don't know about you, but what I tend to do to keep the cost down is go to Poundland or something on the way into the cinema and, you know, get a packet of M&Ms and M's and buy a can of Coke, put it in my jacket, go in, and then, skip paying the extortionate amount for, you know, a 2 litre drink of Diet Pepsi that I'm not going to drink
I don't
when I've
have
already.
I don't have that luxury here, and my daughter has a very set routine for cinema trips, which is buying a popcorn bigger than she is and a
Yeah,
drink, and that's another 15 quid on top of my tickets. Like, thanks for
yeah,
that.
and that's where I think that they make the money
Yeah,
as opposed to anywhere else. But in terms of these sort of things, I think that what's really important is getting to the cinema. So I've, I have to admit, I've always, when I can afford it, let my son buy a hot dog or get he's never been a big popcorn eater, but if he's wanted a popcorn bucket, he's got one and whatever. But if it's like being like you want chocolates, okay, we'll go into Poundland, we'll buy those to just so that I'm not paying £6 for something that I can buy for a quid,
yeah,
basically, because there's no
yeah,
point. You're just throwing money away for no reason. And I think that whichever way that you do it, it's fine. Um, but they rip you off with a lot. The prices for the seats, certainly in the northeast, I think is much lower than if you're somewhere like London, where I think it's like 20 quid for a ticket at least, or something or other like that, which I think is disproportionate. I go, it's like if I went to our Everyman cinema, I think it cost about 16 quid each to go and see a film, which is in my, it's like 2.5 mile away if I go that way. But if I go that way, I can go to the Savoy, which has just replaced the Empire at Catterick, It's taken over after the Empire Cinema closed down. And now it's like sitting the luxury electric, feet up, plenty of room, sort of like leather chairs that's like £7.
Yeah,
So if me and my son go, it costs us 14 quid. And then if we decide to buy something in the place or outside, he's fortunately as frugal as I am. So he goes, yeah, well, let's go to Poundland and let's see what we can get in. It's always fun sort of like smuggling it in. Because I used to make it a game with him as well. I said, well, they'll take it off you if you let them know that it's there. So don't let them know it's there. I played this game with him. So it's like, you have to try and smuggle it in. And that's the game because I like playing it. And, like, he used to think it was great fun. So that was a way that I did it with my son. But I think there's two factors that have really impacted the cinema industry. First one was COVID, because with COVID, what they started to do was stream movies at the same time as cinema release. And I think that has had a massive impact on audiences because it's cheaper to stream a movie to the whole family at home and, buy a pizza, or get a pizza out of the freezer or whatever and have it than it is to go to the cinema and then end up, as you say, paying £100 because you've had to buy the big thing, you've got to go bowling, you've got to do all of the routine that the family expects, which ends up costing so much. The other thing I think has been a big impact and is still going on. We're still seeing the after effects of this is the writer's strike from a few years ago, because the writer's strike basically stopped movies being made for a number of years, um, to one degree or another. And because of the lead in time, even though that was a couple of years ago, we're still suffering the after effects because of how long it takes movies to recover. And ironically, I think that what the movie industry did was shoot itself in the foot with that strike.
yeah. I think make it affordable, make it an experience. I think another thing, you spend a lot of money to go to the cinema, and there might be 15 people in front of you all on the phone with lights blazing, taking messages, taking calls, scrolling TikTok. And you can avoid all that just by waiting a month to see it at home. It's
Mm,
like cinema isn't essential anymore to see a movie. There's so many other ways to see that movie quite quickly and quite easily. It's sad because I love going to cinema.
yeah. I wouldn't want to ever see the cinema close.
No, definitely not. No. I rarely go these days apart from with my daughter, but I love going with my daughter. My favorite ever cinema experience is taking my daughter to the cinema for the first time to see Inside Out 2. It was a
Yeah.
brilliant, brilliant day. I'll never forget it. And
I
I
mean,
wouldn't want to lose that.
do you remember like the late 90s, early 2000s? You used to go to Showcase Cinema at 7 o'clock, and there used to be massive queues.
Oh, yeah, huge.
And you'd have to arrive 30, 40 minutes before the film started just to get through the queue before it started.
I
And
think I
even then, you could end up coming in halfway through the bloody trailers.
I queued for 3 hours outside Blackpool Audience to see Jurassic Park in 1993 for him.
Mm,
3 hours. That was an event, and that was a film. That trailer was about 3 seconds long and just showed a Velociraptor snorting on a door. It was a complete mystery what that film was going to be unless you'd read the book. That's what I'm
yeah,
talking about. A big event, and I queued for 3 hours with my poor nana, bless her,
yeah,
70-year-old nana, for 3 hours. We saw Jurassic Park, and I was blown away by it. I
yeah.
think I was
But
was it 93? I was 12.
I mean, there is something that translates not as well in things like The Matrix, a Star Wars, or a Bond movie
Yeah.
on the big screen to the small screen, and never will. But let's hope that we don't lose him. Anyway, his other question was obviously on the theme: is how often have you been to the cinema only to find that most of the seats are empty?
I go at very insociable times, unsociable, sorry, times to the cinema. So if I'm going on my own, I'll go at the earliest possible showing. If I'm taking my daughter, I will also go at the earliest possible showing. So I go when everyone else is at work or not about. So I do that on purpose and avoid the crowds.
Yeah, I must admit I'm very much similar as well. And a matter of fact, me and my friends, we used to go Friday night. This is before I got married, so up until about 2003. Friday nights used to be midnight showings at the cinema.
They're always packed,
Um,
weren't they?
No, no, there weren't.
No.
Not at midnight.
Oh,
Not at midnight.
right.
Anything before then, like the 11 o'clock showings, so used to be fine. But midnight, people didn't used to go in. And I remember we went to see like Lord of the Rings, and I'm sure that the staff in the showcase cinema at Teesside Park were really happy to see me and my friend rock up to watch like the Fellowship of the Ring at 12:30, which then meant it finished at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
You're a terrible human being for doing that to those poor workers here. That's like someone turning up at your shop at like with a minute to go before you close and buying a full shop and getting a trolley. That's the equivalent of that.
Yeah, but hey, that's the job, though, isn't it? At the end of the
I think
day,
I think cinema crowds on the question, I think week one, if it's a big film, I think they're still generally busy. But I do see a diminishing that a lot quicker these days than I used to. Like I said, when I saw my Inside Out 2, my daughter, that's a big Pixar movie. Took huge amounts to the box office. So I went 2 weeks after it came out, and it was me and her and one other mum and daughter in there on a Saturday morning, and that's it. And that's 2 weeks
yeah,
later. So I think drop off is huge these days compared to what it used to be.
I think you're right. I completely agree. Completely agree. Yeah. Anyway,
Sad, isn't it? The death of the cinema.
I think it'll come back because
As
it
in,
did go away in the sort of like the mid teens. Like 20, about 12 or 13. Was saying the cinema was dead, and then by about 2017, they changed it around again, and then it was all right for a while, and then suddenly COVID hit, and then it went back again, and then the writers' strike.
it
That's
just
what
need
I've observed anyway.
it just needs the next big fad. I think obviously comic book movies had a big impact on movie cinema going. Like everyone was excited to see the next Marvel film, weren't they? And
Oh
that's
yeah,
diminished hugely in recent years due to lack of quality in those superhero movies. It's not exciting anymore like it was when Avengers and Spider-Man and Iron Man were first coming out. And like I don't feel like the buzz for Superman's quite hit that level personally. I think it just needs the next big thing. I'm not sure where that's coming from. There's no Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter on the horizon, is there?
no. The next big one's Doomsday, really, and they're only just making that now because I don't think that there is the feeling about the Fantastic Four movie that there is, or that you would have expected for a Marvel.
Yeah,
Um, and there's um, there's also the Spider-Man New Day movie in development now as well, isn't there?
yeah. There's a lot of Marvel. But what I mean is like, where's the next big like IP coming from? Like, obviously over the years we've had say Twilight, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Marvel, Star Wars, and they've all kind of diminished. Not so much Lord of the Rings, but but where's the next big series going to come from? I don't see anything that could be maybe adapted to be this huge series that gets people back into the cinema. Where's that? There's not a lot of originality now in Hollywood. I think a lot of the more original films are generally come straight to streaming.
Which is a shame
Real shame.
because they don't want to take the risk on some of that stuff because they can't afford to it because the movies are flopping. But the reason why the movies are flopping is because they're not taking the risk.
Well, take what we mentioned earlier, like something like Heretic with Hugh Jackman, Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant,
Like, would you rather experience that at the cinema or Fast and Furious 27? I know what I'd pick. I'd pick Heretic all day. Everything original and that I could be a big
yeah,
surprise. Big surprise. I don't know what I'm going to get. And cinema is lacking that. And generally, if you get something original that gets a limited cinema release, it's then out on Netflix like 2 weeks later, isn't it? Like we said earlier.
yeah,
It's something
yeah.
that
And
gets something
so
that
go on.
butts in seats, something that butts in seats here, and I just don't see where it's coming from.
No, no. But I do think you're right. It's like if it. if they don't get the crowds in the opening weekend, there's not the crowds later on because
No,
people who I think go to the cinema now are the ones who are keeping it alive. They're the they're the fans of going to the cinema as well as wanting to see the movie.
agreed.
Mm, anyhow, I don't think
Anyhow,
get to the cinema, start supporting your local cinema. That's what you got to do because otherwise, we'll all be complaining that they're gone.
I'm just not that excited about the films at the moment, though. Hayden, like it's like we said, there's all
Mm,
sequels. It's like there's just nothing original at all. That's why I'd rather play games these days because I just get more enjoyment from experiencing them myself rather than paying 30 quid to watch something for an hour and a half.
yeah, but I mean, it's like when we talked about the movie releases for the next few weeks. Okay, Superman, Jurassic World Rebirth, and Megan 3.
Too.
2, sorry. Two.
But Megan 2, to be fair, looks like a real step up from the original and really fun and really stupid, and that's exactly what I want from a sequel of that character. It looks amazing. I think that's gonna be a real sleeper hit, Megan 2.
So I'm going to let you get back to your family. So, because I'm
Yeah,
quite realize it's like 10 o'clock.
yeah. My 5-year-old's got no sleeping pattern here, and I wouldn't worry about it. She does
Okay,
what she wants. She's still up
okay.
now, terrorizing her mother. Probably watching K-pop Demon Hunters for the fifth time I've been on this show because I've been here that long.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So thank you very much for joining us, Ian. So, do you want to give your contact details and that of your show so that people can find you?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I am host of the Game Generation podcast. You can find us on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. We also have a Facebook group akin to Hayden's group. Hayden, you're in my group, right, on Facebook?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, it's a Gaming Generations Facebook group, which stemmed this our podcast has been a Facebook group for nearly 15 years now. So other than
Oh,
that, if you want to add me
your
on,
group came was a splinter off ours, wasn't it?
no, we were before you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, long before you.
Oh, okay.
Don't be like that. we
What
we
before
did.
Cranky Gamers?
Oh no, not before Toz. No, the dinosaurs didn't come before Toz. Um, but no, but yeah, obviously we've only been podcasting for nearly 3 years because I think there's like
Yeah,
75 episodes. We've done obviously Hayden's guests. We've had other guests from other podcasts too. Hayden's also a guest with them. We're kind of like some kind of Avengers of podcasting these days, aren't we? Our
yeah.
little circle. Um,
You'll
yeah, we
have
have a
to
good.
put the Avengers music on the next time that we all get together. As a matter of fact, we
Uh,
should do one of a review of the Avenger movies. There we go.
we've done it
Oh,
before.
right.
Me and C have done pre-Marvel, pre-Disney Marvel films and post-Disney Marvel films. That post-Disney Marvel films podcast is my least listened to episode of all time.
And did you do the David Hasselhoff as Samuel L. Jackson's character? My
We did.
brain's
We,
gone.
we didn't do Nick Fury. We
Nick
didn't. We
Fury.
no. We skipped TV movies because we would have been there all day, Hayden. That was a sheer depth of quality that pre-Disney. There's some good stuff like the Blade 1 and 2. There was some good stuff in there, but most of it was just garbage. In all fairness.
Come on, the Hulk TV series.
But we didn't do TV shows.
Oh yeah.
We started pretty much from the Captain America movie and just did films. Otherwise, we didn't do shows and we didn't do TV movies. Just as like cinematic releases. Otherwise, we could have just gone on forever. Lot of crap. An awful lot of crap in there.
So they did the original Spider-Man movies,
We did, yeah.
not the Tobey Maguire, the ones before that.
No, not those 70s ones with the guy that was 50-year-old hidden.
He wasn't 50-year-old in the
He
70s.
wasn't a teenage Peter fucking sorry,
No, he
excuse
wasn't. He
me,
was in his mid
Peter Parker.
30s.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
always reminded me of Columbo. If Columbo was Spider-Man, that guy.
he wasn't that bad.
That's what I remember. It's been a long time since I've seen those movies hidden.
Yeah.
If you want to add me on Xbox or PlayStation, well, listen, I am BigTub81 across every single platform. I have a Switch, but it won't be me playing it. It'll be my daughter. So you don't want to beat in you at Mario Kart, so we can't add you on there. But that's me. Well, again, Hayden, thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. All 3 hours and 34 minutes and counting of it, and feel like there's an inch of liquid covering my entire body currently. Like
Yes.
a the blob.
Yeah.
I've got shinier in the camera if the listeners can see as the show's gone on, and I have particularly long hair that's been held on like a hairband on this headset. So it's
Yeah,
been it's
I
get
think over the podcast we've actually saw your hair grow longer as well because of the length of time it.
the hotter it gets here, then the more bouffon it gets. Honestly, I need a haircut badly. I'm conscious that I stink. It's a good thing the listeners can't smell this podcast.
Yeah, we don't want smell-o-vision, that's for sure. So, as for me, the normal contact details, HRJ on absolutely everything, apart from Epic, in which case I'm on Pop Culture Gamers. Don't forget you can catch us on YouTube, popculturegamers.com forward slash pop. Sorry, youtube.com/popculturegamers. We got the Twitter, Pop Culture Gamer, no S on there. Facebook group, you can email podcast at popculturegamers.co.uk. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and all other podcasting services as well. So, Ian, thank you very much for coming and joining us today. I look forward
Any,
to
any
my
anytime.
next appearance on your podcast as well
I
when we do the Star Trek
can't
run
wait.
through.
We
Can't
might have to
wait for
split.
that.
We might have to do that in a few parts because that's a lot of films. That, and I feel like I need an hour to talk about motion picture, like I said earlier.
Well, yeah, just talk about the motionlessness of it, but
Yeah,
I still love that movie all the same because it doesn't. And it was the only time that they ever used those outfits on Star Trek as well.
I've read all the trivia. It's actually the making of that film's more interesting than the film, and I don't hate the film, but the making of it's
Yeah,
very interesting. But we'll hit on that if anybody wants, like, shameless self promotion when we do the Star Trek retrospective on the Game of Generations podcast.
the ironic thing is though, it is an episode of The Changeling, which was one of the original TV series episodes, but just rejigged
Yeah,
because it's doing exactly the same thing. But then
we're watching.
again, sorry, go on.
I'm watching the Wrath of Khan tomorrow. I'm going to watch one every Monday,
Wrath of Khan, what a movie!
and I'm looking forward to that one. I actually really like the Search for Spock. I know that's controversial,
Yeah,
but I think 2, 3, and 4 as like a trilogy is really fun. 4 especially. 4's my favorite. I think
four's good. Four's
it's so
good.
funny.
The
It's
best
so
Star
funny.
Trek movie though is two.
It's not. It's Generations.
Okay.
On that
You
note,
like
shall we?
Nicolas Cage, so don't pay attention to your views
On,
anyway.
on that note, can I go now? I feel like I'm in podcast jail.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.